We'll get started in just a sec, but we're going to do some setting up first. Thanks for your patience. So are we live? I can't tell if we're live. Let's figure this out. Are we live? Oh, yes we are. I can see it. Let's get that. Let's get people in this chat going. How do I share? Oh gosh. Twitch. What are we doing? How do I share this? Is it going to show? Oh, let's get it. Copy link. You asked for it, and it's here. Hop in. This is going to be fun. All right. So the message has been out. Maybe I should have thought about this. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can get a chat going here. Can I monitor a chat? Camera's on. Camera's on. Overlay options. Display chat. Yes. No. Yeah, wait. Yeah. Display bottom left, right? So I can see what the heck's going on. That's what I want. All right. Is it doing? Oh. Okay, camera's back. How do I see chat? What if people are chatting? No one's chatting right now. We'll get started in just a sec. Oh, there's a weird loop going on. Okay. Alright, well, I don't know how I'm going to interact with this. Alright, anyway, we're going to get started. How do you even start this? For those who don't know, my name's David Silbert. I'm editor-in-chief of the Punished Backlog. We're an entertainment website covering games, movies, books, television, anything really. Let me look at the camera. Thanks for being here. If you're catching this on replay, most likely through YouTube, good to have you. And yeah, today we are here for some content. I don't really know how to start this off, but if you're familiar, this is Final Fantasy 15, aka a terrible game. One that's kind of captured my imagination, though. It's awful. It's awful, and this is why we're doing the broadcast. So I've done pretty much everything in this game. Beat the game, beat the episode DLCs, did pretty much all the meaningful content, left a lot of crappy side missions and hunts on the table. Endgame content, terrible. Did the good stuff there, Piteous Dungeon, Adamantoise, and who cares? And really the only thing that is left is platinuming it, and everything else was pretty simple about this game. The Platinum Trophy, not much to it, except for the skills. If we go in and check here, yeah. I don't know why Gladio is late to the party here, but he is level 9. And all the other skills in this game are pretty straightforward. It's like, look, Noctis, you're fishing for stuff, and the more you fish, you level up quickly. Prompto, it's impossible not to hit 10 with him, because the dude will not stop taking photos for the life of him. Just cannot stop and drop the damn camera. Ignis, my favorite character. I actually like him. Cooks some mean meals. Pretty easy to get to 10 if you just camp a lot. Gladio, though, you gotta walk around. That's what he does. He walks around and he picks shit up the ground. So the only way to bump his skill and get it to 10 is to walk around a lot. Now, you can see this play clock. I've played the game for 74 hours now, and I'm still not at level 10. It's not like I was driving around the whole time in this Regalia thing. Long story short, I have nothing else to do. I do not want to do another single hunt in this godforsaken game, and so what we're going to do is walk around the entire world. Yep, that is what we're doing with this kind. I don't know how long it's going to take. Is it going to be the entire broadcast? Is this going to be like, am I going to be sitting here for 5 hours just walking the map? I don't know. It's a big map. It's an underwhelming map, but it's a big map. But the regalias will kind of takes you around. So I don't know what the heck, how long it's going to take. I guess we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to walk around until we do a lap, or we're going to walk around until we get to level 10 with Gladio. I pop that platinum trophy and I can put this game behind me for the rest of my life. I hope to God that level 10 comes first. I hope I don't have to lap this thing. That's why this broadcast is called Lap of Shame. We're going to see. We're going to see how this goes. Yeah. I'm going to check the chat, see where we're at. Let's see what we're doing. I cannot tell. Do we have comments? I don't know. I don't know. I know we're live. I just cannot see a chat overlay in via the PS5 share, but I'm going to check it for one last time to see if I can get the chat window to at least pop up so I can see things if they do come in, and then we will get started in about 3 minutes or so. Okay, I'm displaying chat, displaying the activity. What happens if I turn it off? No difference. Okay. I'm just going to assume that if I leave it on and chat stuff comes in, I will see it in the bottom left. So, yeah. Oh, I can see there's no one on the broadcast so far. That's to be expected. But we're going to be going through, we're going to be enjoying this. And maybe, you know, if one of the Punish Backlog friends jumps in and decides to watch, it'll be fun. So, yeah, let's get started. I hate this. We're gonna map out the route first, and I'm gonna tell myself no combat. I guess the only combat would have to be at night. But so I think the rules of engagement here will be: we'll walk around during the day, and at night we'll camp to check progress. I really don't want to get into any kind of fights. Do we want to be authentic here? We're gonna skip stuff like doing the loop here. I think we're gonna do Lestalem. I don't know, it wouldn't be much of a loop if we didn't do the whole map, so, I don't know, kind of awkward. We could go up here, circle up the top, go down, go around, hit Golden Key, and once we hit Golden Key, I mean, the goal is to get back to Lestalem, so actually, even after we get to Hammerhead, it's not going to be, we'll have to go back around. So I think the first thing is to loop around, take that left, hopefully we don't take a wrong turn, so here we go. Getting going. Take up a noodles, guy. Good stuff. And so, some background, right? I have Noctis's one of his gear that lets him run infinitely without sprint. That would have been really bad had we not had that, because I don't think I would have wanted to do this at all if I had to listen to him get his breath. Like, have to stop for breath every 5 seconds? That'd be annoying.
Let's roll. Off we go.
Where's the damn sun?
I just wish all of them would. I wanna preface, we're gonna be talking a lot during this thing. I like the characters, right? Let's talk about the things I like about Final Fantasy 15. Let's talk, while we have this time that we're rolling around the world, let's talk about what I like about the game. Let's talk about what I like about Final Fantasy. Let me just do a little bit of an introduction into how I got acquainted with the series, how I got acquainted with 15. I think this will be a good little story time. There's nothing else to do. Taking the view, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? Check out the boys. Yeah, let's get started. So, my first kind of introduction with Final Fantasy was really with Dawn of Souls on Game Boy Advance, Final Fantasy 1 and 2. So I am not one of those old people that were kind of in on it back on, you know, NES days, really, you know, pixelated graphics. I was really kind of, I consider myself kind of right in the middle. I'm not new to the series by any stretch, but I'm not one of the, first ever Final Fantasy fans. Got into it really, I want to say 2004, 2005. I think Dawn of Souls came out around then. Played through the first two, enjoyed it. It's not the most memorable pair of games by any stretch, but enjoyed. And then those who know me will know that really where I came into my own with the series was in 2006. My brother gifted me Final Fantasy 12 for, I don't know, when I was in high school or middle school, one of my birthdays. And the story behind that was that he had talked to some guy at GameStop and said, hey, like, my brother is a nerd. What would he like? And he's like, oh, I got him. Copy of Final Fantasy 12. Collector's edition, sharp metal case. Good stuff. Anyway, yeah, it's my favorite game of all time, so needless to say, I think my brother got it right. And I've kind of gone back through the series ever since. After that, I played Final Fantasy X, loved it. Played Final Fantasy VII, loved it. Final Fantasy VI, loved it. Final Fantasy III, did not love that one. I played that one on the DS. I guess that's the only place you can play it in North America. Not a big fan of that game, but I played it. Final Fantasy IV, liked it. Final Fantasy V, And, of course, the other part of this whole history, so if you're doing the math there or doing the calculations behind the scenes, that leaves 8, 9, 10, 2 I played, and that leaves 13 as well, and 15, obviously. So 13, when I was in, I want to say 7th grade, I was so in on the hype train. I was already a big fan of Final Fantasy, having played 12, having played 10. And so, needless to say, I think around the same time, 2006, Final Fantasy 13 was announced alongside Final Fantasy Versus 13. And that's when the hype levels really started going off. That's where the hype thrusters started. Really could not be more excited for Lightning and Noctis and what they were going to bring to the table. 2010 came around, Final Fantasy 13. Disappointing. From what I'd played, I was familiar with a lot of the more open Final Fantasy games, and even for some of the more linear experiences like Final Fantasy X, I just really loved the storytelling. I thought it was just a really compelling story with a really compelling cast of characters.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 13 did really none of that. I'm one of those people that say I'm not that big of a... I don't take much issue with the fact that 13's a linear experience. I don't even take that much issue with the fact that there are 0 towns in the game, or 0 real towns. What I take issue with is the characters that have pretty much 0 chemistry. Well acted. Interesting characters in and of themselves, but the actual chemistry there is lacking, to say the least. And the story is absolutely nonsensical. Like, I have no idea what happened to the Square Enix writing team, but it's just a terrible story. I hate it. And I learned to love Final Fantasy 13 in its own right, thanks to the combat system. But aside from that, it's a gorgeous game and it sounds great. But really could not get into it in any other way, shape, or regard. Now, we were holding out hope. So 2010 rolls around, we play it. Not the greatest experience. Enter, 13.2, they try to rectify some of the mistakes. Lightning returns, they just double down on a lot of the mistakes. But Final Fantasy Versus 13 was really a lot of where I was putting all my eggs in that basket. Super excited about it. You had Final Fantasy Agito 13, which ended up becoming Type 0. I admit I never really got into it. Maybe someday I will. But, of course, as you can see now, I have played Final Fantasy 15, and it's nothing like what I expected it to be back in 2006 when I was gushing about it during gym class in 7th grade. The story of Noctis and his 3 friends, Ignis, Prompto, and Gladio, very much intact, but pretty much everything else from the game seemingly was scrapped, from Stella Nox Fleuret, who was supposed to be kind of the Romeo Juliet-esque story where you have the Montagues and the Capulets in the form of the Noctis, Lucis, Calum, and Stella Nox Fleuret. Those were the 2 mafia-like families that were kind of at odds, even though the 2 inheritors of the family were star-crossed lovers. Super interesting premise. Never happened. Her character got scrapped after, Nomura and development hell, after Tetsuya Nomura, the director for this game, for Versus 13 handed the reins to Hajime Tabata. What else changed about this game along the way? I mean, the whole structure, really, right? The whole idea was that Noctis and Stella met in Insomnia. They had a candid conversation, and all hell breaks loose. They get invaded by Niflheim, and that kind of starts Noctis' journey. That's not in this game at all. It's in a movie, Kingsglaive. Terrible movie. I hate it. I have nothing good to say about that movie. I watched it, super excited for it at the time. Could not be more let down by a CGI movie. And I'm someone who loved Advent Children and, get this, Spirits Within. I love Spirits Within. I don't know why. It did something for me. Maybe it was because it was like Sakaguchi's last real project with the the Final Fantasy team, but I liked that movie. I thought it was good. Oh, don't come down. Magitech Engine, do not come down on us. I'm not fighting. We're getting out of Dodge if we have to fight. I don't want to have to use any weapon in Noctis' arsenal. That is not what we are here for. Anyway, getting back to the story. So that whole structure changed, right? And then what we ended up getting with Final Fantasy 15 was an extremely disjointed kind of narrative disaster where we had that Stella's out of the picture. You have a new character named Luna, who interesting somewhat in her own right, but of course nothing like what we were promised. And for better or worse, Insomnia, that whole invasion was taken out of the main game, put into the CGI film. We had an anime that gave a lot of the backstory for the four guys here. You had a slew of demos kind of introducing people to the mechanics of the game, but not much of a tutorial in the game itself. What else? You had the story of Noctis' father told really through like an arcade brawler game. You have phone tie-ins. You have, 15 Pocket. You have pretty much everything. You have novellas. You have, a precursor to the game, a PDF you can download on the Square Enix's website, or the 15 website, that explains why they're leaving to begin with. You have all this medium. You have a Dark Horse Comics kind of collection of artwork and details of the story. You have a literal book. You have all these things that should have been in the main game that were not for one reason or another. So you have this already development hell over 10 years from 2006 to 2016, and then you piecemeal everything and a la carte it, and so what you're left with is a very kind of simplistic story of four guys on a road trip, and a lot of very messy things in the middle that make no sense because the details were left out of the story. So as for the actual dynamic between these characters, I just wrote a piece on the Punish Backlog, top 5 video game character relationships, and I go into detail about why, despite it all, despite the messy, disjointed story, like plot, despite the disjointed combat system, somehow these four characters... where did Ignis go? These four, I've learned to love them. They don't have the most depth as characters by any stretch of the imagination, but they're interesting, mainly because Square Enix and Tabata's team did a really awesome job making you care about them, the constant banter between them, albeit the fact that it's repeated ad nauseum, the really fluid animations in combat. So even though I don't know, to 65 hours into this game, I don't know what Noctis the combat is. I don't really understand how it works. It's not hard, I didn't really struggle with it. You just spam elixirs and you abuse the armiger like there's armiger like there's no tomorrow. You switch between characters if you want to, but there's nothing really... Oh, I'm on a broadcast, sorry. Yeah, I mean, it's really the character relationships that make it worthwhile, and that's kind of the only redeeming factor of this game. And so it might sound like I've given you this history of myself and Final Fantasy, and basically the only games I really haven't played are 8 and 9 of the mainline games. I haven't touched the MMOs, and I don't plan to, not because I don't think they're not good, but because I just don't have time to sink so many hours into an MMO like 14. certainly don't want to pay a monthly subscription because I love to play games of all kinds, and I just don't want to spend all my time in one place. But when it really comes to 15, despite it all, I do like this game.
Find shelter before we catch cold.
It's not my favorite
Good idea.
by any stretch. I think if I were to slot it in someplace, my official ranking of Final Fantasy games would go Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 6, and then, so those are can't be disputed in my eyes. Now, where we get a little bit more nuanced with the ranking is after those four. So, how do we rank the rest of the Final Fantasy games? The ones that I played, we have 15, we have 13, we have the first 5 games. So as far as I'm concerned, 1, 2, 3, you can forget about them. 5, you can forget about them. So really 4 is something special. I like 4. So I'd go 12, 10, 7, 6, and then it's really probably have to go 4. And then it was really a razor edge between margin between 13 and 15. For a long time, I think I told myself that 13 was overall the more cohesive game, just because I think at the time I started playing Final Fantasy 15 on PS4 and Xbox One, and it didn't look good on Xbox One, where I was putting most of my time, and so 13 was the better looking game. It didn't have the luminous tool issues, choppy frame rates, and just God knows how many issues on the tech side that caused part of this development hell. Was just like the team at Lumino Studios was working on a really, or Business Division 2 at the time, they were working with really bad tools, really like tough engine. So it was tough deciding between the two. But having played this game from start to beginning, it's very incoherent. There's not a lot of continuity to the actual plot, but the characters are good. The game, as you can see here, playing on PS5, which is more on par with the PC version of Final Fantasy 15. It's running in 60 frames per second. Not sure if it's running at 4K. I don't know how that works with the PS4 Pro upgrade. I'm assuming not. Maybe it is 1440. Who knows? But regardless, it looks good, so I really have no qualms in terms of the visual capabilities of this game now. So 15, in terms of where it really slots in with 13, I'm going visuals, kind of take your pick. I think 13's got the better art style, probably, and I think 15 maybe has better technical graphics at this point, just given it's an open world and everything, the animation and everything. But gameplay-wise, I'm going 13. Music-wise, I think the music's incredible for both games. Final Fantasy has never had a problem with music. I'll give a slight edge to 15, though, with Yoko Shimomura with some baller, boss-ass tracks. And then finally, it's, really in terms of the story and characters, I'm going characters for 15 any day of the week. Plot is really bad for 13. It's bad for 15 too. I think it's a rat race to the finish with either of those. But I will say, if I had to say one thing that puts 15 over the edge in addition to the characters over 13, it is the impeccable dungeon design that Tabata and his crew did over time. Anyone who's played 15 can probably attest to this, that there's a lot of really cool things going into the dungeons for this game. So the ones that really stuck out to me, of course, Belouved Mines. That's the first one you go to in the game, Noct and the crew. And it's actually kind of notable because, near the end of the dungeon, you can't even really finish it for real because there's I don't want to spoil it for anyone watching the broadcast and post, but there's a tough enemy that you can't really beat at your current level because you're going to be definitely a low level when you tackle that dungeon for the first time. So it definitely gives that sense of wonder. It's like, wow, this is a kind of a intimidating dungeon, and there's a tough enemy here. I'm going to have to come back, and it really gave that sense of kind of scope to this whole game. I was like, wow, is the rest of the game going to be this kind of epic? Not quite, but some of the other dungeons in 15 really did kind of... can I see chat? I can see chat. Valex. I don't recognize the username. I know it's one of the boys, but let me check my phone. Let me see where you are. Oh, maybe it's not. I don't know. Do we know each other, Valix? Type it in the chat. I'm sure you do. I don't know how the Twitch algorithm would work otherwise. It'd be very weird if you just kind of stumbled upon it. But thanks for being here. If you did, this is the Death Gauntlet, running around the entire 15 world so I can top off Gladio's skill to 10. So I can platinum this game and be done with it. Long story short, too long didn't read. Oh, you found me through Final Fantasy 15 stream. Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, well, nothing much going on here. I mean, the stick is that I'm literally just running throughout the entire world, doing a lap around the world to max out Gladio to level 10. He's the only guy I got left, and once that trophy pops, I'm platinumed, and I'm kind of out with this game. Very love-hate relationship with 15, but
You wanna watch where you're going?
I don't know. You a big fan of 15? No, you know, all love. If it's your favorite game, if it's your least favorite game, favorite Final Fantasy. Oh, we said we're not doing that. Oh, we're out. But yeah, so we're in nighttime. We are going to. Oh, this is going to be a fun stretch. Woo! So cannot camp
Magitech entry. It's close.
for an entire stretch. Oh, that's going to be good. Oh, I should have done better planning for this. I definitely wanted to camp before night. Haven't played any Final Fantasy. It was a free game on PS. Okay, all right. So I'm not. All right, I won't dog it. I won't trash it. What I will say is, you got a PS5. It's on part of the collection. I definitely recommend you give it a try. It's fun. There's a lot that I've really appreciated about it, and I think you're gonna really enjoy it, particularly on PS5. My one pro tip is definitely install the game to your SSD. If you're using an external hard drive, please do not play it on the hard drive, because a lot of this game is going to be kind of going to the car and warping around the world, fast traveling. A lot of fetch quests in this game that I kind of advise you skip if possible, but having it on the SSD and being able to load the game in 10 seconds, you're looking at maybe 40 seconds if you don't do it like that. So definitely recommend you do the former and give yourself a break, because the game can really shine at parts, but only if you let it give you some love there. Set yourself up for success. Totally. But yeah. Thanks for sticking with the stream. I know it's probably not the most exciting thing if you're just fresh on 15, because I'm pretty much ignoring all combat encounters just to run with the crew. But yeah, other recommendations really is if you want to get your most out of your relationship with the 4 guys here, definitely recommend you maybe read up on. There's an anime you can watch. There's a movie. I was saying earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, but it does give you some good context for the story.
Really? Again?
But you can still kind of go through it at your own pace, and the story is good enough from a character perspective that you'll probably like it if you just if you like it for the characters. I don't think you're gonna love it for the plot, but to each their own. Maybe you will, and I'd be happy for you if that does become the case. But yeah. So let's see. So we're just about at midnight on the game map. Running into a lot of demons, which is, yeah, no problem. Not ideal to be running into. Whew. A lot of guys. Low level, though. Low level for me. I think we're at level 87 or 90 to put in perspective, so they probably would have been scarier when you're first starting up the game, but certainly not, having pretty much done everything here. But it does add that sense of, the night and day cycle in this game is another strength of it, where you can kind of just drive around. And at first, Ignis, who's your cook, as Prince of Lucis, Noctis is kind of the first in line, next in line to. I'm a trophy hunter. Yep, you have a small collection of 22 platinums is good, man. I don't think that's by any stretch. Not a lot of platinums. I have something around the same amount. I think other games I've platinumed were Infamous Second Son, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Order, 1886. a lot of open world games for some reason, and this is another one there. I don't know why. It kind of, I don't know about you, but it depends on the kind of game I'm playing, right? So if it's a game where everything's pretty clear, it seems pretty achievable, I'm all for it. But if it's like a Rockstar game like Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto, I just have to throw in the towel. There's no way I'm getting all those trophies. It's just too tough. But yeah, this one's just close to my heart. Like, this is a game that I've known about for like 15 years now. I think I followed it back in 2006 when it was announced, and I just wanted to do everything and put it on my my bookshelf or my game shelf and call it a day and feel like I left it all on the court for this one. But yeah, it's a wild ride here. Way too time consuming. Yeah, way too time. Great games, but I haven't even, for like Red Dead Redemption, I'm perfectly fine just going around the world hunting crocodiles or something. I definitely so many things I'm gonna have missed in that game. Can't imagine trying to, uncover every rock, especially with just kind of the pacing in that game. You're just kind of very much taking it very slow, whereas, I don't know if you've seen it in this game, but you really can just kind of zip through in this game. And normally, of course, you'll have a car to drive you from places, so I'm kind of just making this hard just to be hard on myself. But I don't know if you heard it before, but in order to level up, you have to be walking and counting your pedometer steps, essentially. So the more steps I'm doing on foot and not in the car, my mileage on the car, the better for us. Okay, we are trying to take the right here. What are your favorite aspects of Final Fantasy X, and will it get a remake? I love Final Fantasy X. I think I said earlier it's my second favorite Final Fantasy game, third favorite game. I think what I like about 10 is it's just a lot. I think in terms of all the Final Fantasy games and probably any JRPG I've played, I think the combat in that game is awesome. I think it's, if you're a real like turn-based RPG person, it's really scratches that itch because it just feels very strategic. I feel like it's a good challenge. It's not a frustrating kind of turn-based game where you select all your moves and your characters are going out of order and you're not really sure. Like, it's based on a speed stat. It's very much like, hey, like, you have a lot of control over how you approach battles, and I felt like that was pretty fun. And it's a good romance story. I think the characters are all pretty interesting in the game. A very tight story, interesting bad guy. All the characters are cool. It's got moments of sadness, moments of happiness. It's just an overall good game. Yeah, definitely highly recommended. And in terms of a remake, I don't know. We just had a remaster somewhat recently, maybe a couple years back now, and I wouldn't put it past Square Enix to remake it at some point. I think there's a lot they certainly could do with the game. There are some parts of the world or towns that feel kind of maybe not super fleshed out. It's a fairly linear game, so I'd love to see them take a stab at it down the line. But I think from a lot of fans' perspectives, I know a lot of people would love to see Final Fantasy VI remade first, maybe one of the older games as well, 8 or 9. But I'm all for it. Definitely highly recommended. I think you can get the remastered version for maybe like $20 for PS4 now, and just play it on your PS5. I gotta imagine that looks really nice. Oh, I guess I'm cheating now. Guess I shouldn't be sword swinging. I don't know if that counts towards my my steps. I really wish Noctis had a Fitbit on so we could see how many steps he's doing. I think let's see. Oh, I totally... When I get through the games I'm playing, would you recommend... Oh, the 7 remake or this one first? So if you're talking about 15, I definitely recommend 7 remake, because I'm assuming you have PS Plus. So I would say definitely probably start with 7 remake. I think it's a really, really good entry to the series if you're first kind of a newcomer. And it's a way tighter game than 15. I'm a lot more kind of bullish on 7 remake than 15. I have a lot of baggage with 15, but I also have a lot of nostalgia for Final Fantasy VII. I played the original back when maybe like a decade ago, and I thought 7 remake hit all the right notes. I think it's only a portion of the main experience, so know that going in. It's like a 40 hours for the remake, and of a 40. The original game was 40 hours, but this is just adapting that first, let's say, 3 to 5 hour stretch of the first game. But I think it's a really, really solid game. Looks great, sounds great, combat system's great. I would say, really, like Final Fantasy X and 7 Remake have my two favorite combat systems in the entire series. So you really can't go wrong with 7 Remake. And now that it's free on Plus, definitely give it a go. I know that there was some news recently that Intergrade, which is the PS5 only one, is coming out, and that's you're not gonna be able to upgrade if you have the Plus version. But I think from what I've seen, it doesn't look like the graphical upgrades are that impressive. Like, I think you're really good just to go with that PS Plus version. So that's my final advice: play the remake, and if you like it, then I would say try 15 and see if it vibes with you. The combat is like not as strategic. It's not quite as good to play, but maybe you'll enjoy it. Yeah. And the other thing I will say, and this is kind of a plug for the site that I'm with, but on punishbacklog.com, or the Punish Backlog if you want to search it, I'll probably be putting together a little bit of a guide for 15. So for people new to the game, how you can kind of maximize your playthrough without kind of almost like a cut the filler guide. Don't play a lot of the kind of so side quests, and what order to do some of the DLC that's included in the game if you have Royal Edition. I can't remember off the top of my head if the PS Plus collection includes the Royal Edition of 15 or if it's just the base edition, but I'll give you some insights into what quests are must plays and which ones you should skip. And spoiler alert, it's probably like 95% of the side quests I'd probably recommend you skip. They're just a lot of fetch quests. But
Imperials above us. Thanks.
10-2. Yeah, 10-2. It's an odd one, right? Because it's kind of the first sequel to a Final Fantasy game. I don't want to give too much away in terms of Final Fantasy X, but 10 was, 10 was a really good game. It ends on kind of a mysterious note. I don't want to spoil much, but 10-2 kind of helps to provide more clarity to that experience in Final Fantasy X, and has all new protagonists with Yuna and her girl squad taking the lead there. So in many ways, it's kind of like 15, except on the opposite side of the fence. One thing I will say about 10-2, I'm not the biggest fan of the combat, and I think it's kind of 13 is kind of what took 10-2's combat system and really made it shine, but I definitely enjoyed my time with it. It's one of those weird Final Fantasy games where they actually encourage you to play through it multiple times to get the best ending. I don't really appreciate that because I like to play through games one time and leave it there. That's maybe why I platinum Spider-Man and Horizon and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say give it a go if you like 10. Don't feel afraid to play 10 too. But I'd see what you like about 10 first. I got some sights going on.
Cold. Yeah.
3 a.m. Well, we survived the night on the town, or night in Demon Land. My spirits are up. I'm excited to see maybe how far we've pushed the needle in terms of Gladio's walking skill next time we camp, because that's the other reason why we are camping. It's not just to avoid nighttime, it's to check our progress. I would say we are, I don't know, maybe we've done 25%. It's actually, maybe it's not too bad of a lap around the world, and it's kind of pretty. It feels pretty self-fulfilling. Oh, there is the campsite. Oh, I could cheat. I could warp out. Do we want to do it? Let's do it. Let's check where we're at. So we're going off the beaten path for just a second. It almost feels... What do you think is your hardest platinum in terms of difficulty? It's a good question. Honestly, this might be it because it's a test in patience, is what I will say.
Right here.
But that's not a great answer. I would say maybe Horizon Zero Dawn, just because there was a ton of stuff on that map. It's a fun game, and I don't regret a second playing that. We're gonna have, we'll have a good meal for the boys. It was a fun, definitely a fun campaign. I didn't regret a second of it, but it was definitely kind of a Ubisoft open world with a lot of icons. And let's give him a nice little sandwich. But yeah, that's probably the hardest one. I wish I could have platinumed Bloodborne, but Cuphead, yeah. Cuphead's a tough one. That's one I've got on Xbox, so I kind of regret it because I think I would appreciate the Platinum trophy there. But I've been meaning to get back to it on Xbox, and I have a friend that's... made some progress there. Yeah, I have a friend that I think S plus or S tiered everything there, and it definitely seems like that'd be a really fulfilling one to platinum. So, props on that one. We're getting a little cutscene here. Gladio, what would you like, friend?
Hey, Noct, I have a favor to ask.
What's the favor?
I want to do something for Iris, and I need your help.
What's this now?
Well, my sis puts on a brave face, but I know it's not easy for her. I just wanted to do something for her to show that I care. And that's where you come in. I hope.
Why not? Will this level up your skill, Gladio? Let's do it in case it does.
So, what do you need me to do?
Pick a flower.
This is
flower.
A particular flower.
Pick a flower.
that only blooms
Okay.
at dawn.
These are the little
Indigenous
random
forest.
things you find when you're
Iris has always
camping.
had a soft spot for 'em.
I stumbled upon this 65 hours in.
Well, at least it'll be easy pickings. You can
Picking
count on me.
flowers. Okay. Got a little awkward silence there. We're going to go pick some flowers for Gladio's sister, Iris. Another character that, if you are new to Final Fantasy 15, not much into her backstory.
Let's go pick that
So I don't know where you're supposed to know
Check.
a lot
You
about
sure
her,
you know
but...
where to look?
Yeah. Should be just up ahead.
Alrighty.
Here we are. Bound to be one around here somewhere.
It's pretty
Okay.
big somewhere to look.
It'll feel great when you find it. Come on.
If I find it.
Okay, so... Well, this is good. We're technically off the beaten path here, but we're still working on Gladio's skills, and we're helping him out, so this feels a little fitting. If it was Ignis or Prompto, I might have had to decline them. Going to pick some flowers. Head to an area with flowers. Alrighty. Well, I can't say enough good things about the game, how it looks visually. I think it looks stunning on PS5. Who's your favorite character from Final Fantasy X? Please don't say Seymour. Okay, so you played 10. No, it's not Seymour. I would say my favorite character is probably Auron. I just feel like Auron's cool. I can't remember if he had a ton of depth, but
Yeah.
he's just like a badass character.
Well, that's why I'm here.
And maybe
Boost.
Yuna as a close second.
Give it a shot.
I know a lot of people found like Waka annoying, but you know, added some nice little levity. But I think Auron and Yuna would be my top two. And I know a lot of people love Kamari too, so
Yeah.
good squad.
Got it.
Great work, Noct.
What about yourself, out of curiosity?
Not really sure you needed me.
Well, I'd like you to give her the flower. That'll mean even more to her.
Why? What's wrong with it being from us?
How clueless can you be? Look, just hand it to her for me, okay?
Okay, a little bit
Good
of a...
hustle out there.
Yeah, I know. I'm awesome.
We're talking about Final Fantasy and I'm just lost. Oh, I see. Do we have a pair of Yeah, it's a bit of it's a bit of an obtuse series, right? It's tough to kind of get into it at first glance, but I mean the good news is that 7 Remake 15 is all very accessible. And all the games are fresh, right? So it's, you know, no matter what Final Fantasy game you decide to start with, you're always going to have kind of an all-encompassing story. My one rec also would be, I would kind of skip the first few. I don't know if you're much of a 2D Final Fantasy fan, kind of the pixel art, or just, you know, kind of those older NES games. Can't say those are very fulfilling from a story perspective, but definitely 10, love it. Auron, Yuna, they're the squad. 12, I'm always going to plug Final Fantasy 12. That's my favorite one, and you can pick up Zodiac Age and play it in a whole new way. Definitely a favorite there. You won't be disappointed there. Check that one out. So what's going on here? We got some cars, maybe a cookout brewing over here, or a parking spot. Something's happening over here. Or maybe it's just rundown cars. So Auron, Waka, and Jet. Okay, yeah. Jet's a badass, I gotta say, I agree. all great picks. Yeah, Jet's a badass. So, and I like it. Sor Orin. I didn't realize it was a knight. Yeah, it's a good squad. I got to go back and revisit that game. It's a fun time. One of my favorite tracks from Yoko in 15. This little Wanderlust for those, if you want to check it out on the OST, on the soundtrack. I have a lot of the 15 tracks on my kind of work playlist. They're just very, very soothing. Another reason why makes it kind of smooth. It's a smooth play to look at and listen to. Very serene, too, as I guess you both can gather, kind of watching us as we trot around the entire map. But yeah, one of the landmarks, the Rock of Ravito. That's another thing about 15, where it's a lot of that lore. You don't really get it unless you play some of the side stuff. So I just wrapped up one of the DLC episodes and kind of dives in a little more about parts of the world. So I really wish I had that context 65 hours ago when I first started the game. That would have been amazing. But better late than never. Here we go. They're doing... I love how Noctis is just full out sprinting, and everyone else is kind of crouching and doing just kind of like a weak jog. I don't understand it. Yeah, Noctis is really hustling. Good news about this game, and what's kind of fun, is you can always outpace the guys. If you really just want to leave them in the dust, do a little bit of this. They can't catch up. They're not the future king of Lucis, right? So, see ya. That's nice little vista in the background. Good stuff. Just taking the music. Yeah, yep. Frames on PS5 are good. This is running 60 frames, and we're broadcasting in 60 frames. It's really nice looking, to be honest. You have a couple, I think, the same settings that you can choose from on PS4 Pro between, like, performance, high fidelity, and, like, the light or something in between. I don't really understand why there are 3 and not just 2, but definitely 60 frames now is kind of how I'm treating everything for... current gen, next gen stuff. So I'm playing on Series X as well. I'm playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, game I've had on Xbox One for years now, but it's just so much better with the the enhancements. So I think that's really a game changer for both consoles. Is playing some of these older games on the new hardware. Looks great, really does. And that's the thing. Like, I really would not recommend this game on like base PS4. But I think on Pro and PS5, it really... PS5 especially, because you got the benefit of the graphics, and you have the SSD where you can just whiz around the map. Really makes such a difference for this game. Ignis is right, it's a beautiful day. Yeah, so... I guess I'm very much a layman with how the technical stuff. So I'm curious what the difference is between like the resolution mode and a graphical fidelity mode. So is it kind of like it's not necessarily you're going to have the highest level resolution for the game, but it could somehow like, what's the difference between those two settings? I totally understand 60 FPS less great resolution, but for the other two I don't. Yeah, I don't really get the other two. I understand you want to go shopping, Ignis. We have... I'll give you a little peek. We got plenty of items for days. We don't need to go shopping. What we need to do is max out Gladio's survival skill, which involves running around the entire map. Some of my earliest gaming memories. Oh, yeah. Okay, so... It's honestly a great question. Thanks for asking. So, I think my first platform was a Game Boy Color. Purple Game Boy Color I got for my birthday, I want to say. That as well as a GameCube, I think a little bit later on. Purple GameCube, I don't know. Purple's my favorite color. I don't think that had anything to do with why my parents gifted me that. But Yeah, some of my favorite memories playing Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube was just a surreal experience. Something about having that as one of the earliest memories was fun. My friend had an NES. I never had one, so going over to his place and playing the original Legend of Zelda there, super fun. And some brawler with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was not the one that everyone loves. I know we have Shredder's Revenge, which is .emu. The new kind of remastered or reimagining of the franchise that's coming out later this year. It wasn't, I don't think it's that game that people are fond of, but it was another brawler. Had a lovely time playing that on NES with a buddy. But yeah, some of those, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, the Capcom developed pair of Zelda games for Game Boy. Love those games. Increasing graphic settings on a PC, you'd have better things like better full. Gotcha. Okay, so maybe there's more going on. I know there's the same deal on Rise of the Tomb Raider, where you can have the highest level resolution, or you could have kind of better textures with kind of just more stuff going on. So, okay, thanks for clarifying. That makes sense. Yeah, for me, it's like I had to go 60 frames for this one, just because once it was nice having it in the really high resolution mode or the the increased foliage mode, but the 60 frames was really a game changer here, especially because I went right from base PS4 to PS5, so I didn't even play with the PS4 Pro. So I'm stopping real quick. Fella here having some car woes. This is just kind of like a useless fetch quest that you encounter on Final Fantasy 15, but you're always kind of, thankfully you don't have to fetch anything because you just hold on to the kind of car kit. Not really sure what the car kit thing is. I like to imagine it's a pair of jumper cables, and normally you'd have your car here and you'd help them out, but there we go. Helped out a friend. Got nice little amount of gil. We've got a lot of gil. I think we've got 200,000 gil, so 6,000. Nice little piece of change there, but there's nothing else I gotta buy. I don't have to prove myself with this game anymore. I've been avoiding a lot. Favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack? You hit me with all the good questions.
Yeah.
I have to say, it would have been the original 7. Sorry, I wish the developers would go back and remove the 30 FPS cap. Yeah, I agree. So I'll get to your question. So favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack, I'll go 7 first off. But with the remake, so I love the OG 7 soundtrack, but the remake really takes it to a new level for me. I gotta say, hands down, 7 remake soundtrack. And to your question, yeah, I totally agree that seeing more games have that unlocked update would be phenomenal. So another example of a game that I'm hoping to probably play after 15 and hopefully do some more streaming with is The Last Guardian. That's kind of the brother in arms to this game, where it's like they were announced in similar time frame. I think 15 was 2006, Last Guardian was 2008. And both games kind of had a ton of technical issues. They didn't play particularly well on the base PS4, and they're seeing new life on PS5. So you can see how gorgeous this game looks. Oh, we totally did do the loop here. Oh, I totally said we weren't going to do that loop, but we did. Okay, all good. But, yeah, and Last Guardian, it was a game that, struggled to hit, 30 frames? You were lucky if it hit 25 frames, 20 frames, 15 frames, a little under 30. And now I think it's running at, an uncapped frame rate, or maybe it maxes out at 60, but apparently it looks gorgeous on PS5, so I'm actually really excited to play it. I don't know if... you can't get past and walkie controls, which is part of the issue with 15 too. But I totally echo your sentiment. Let's unlock frame rate. I want to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey in all its glory on PS5. I want to rediscover that game. I'm sure there are plenty of examples you can think of. What are some of the games that you'd want to see? So yeah, we did a total accidental loop around the Rock of Ravito, which is fine. Got a lot of walking to do anyway for Gladio. I don't think we're really...
It's close.
we got a ton of walking for him, I'm realizing. But I do think that by the time we wrap up this lap, he'll definitely be good to go. He'll be feeling nice and survivally. I don't get why walking helps him out that much, but say la vie. It's cool. kind of wish there was a hitchhike button in this game. That'd be cool. Of course, we can always call the car if we wanted to, but that would defeat the purpose of this. Yeah. Oh, I've heard that too, right? Yeah, yeah. I also heard... The unpatched, yeah, something along the lines of if you use the unpatched, it's actually better, and then if you patch it, there are more issues. Hopefully they sorted that out. That's a bummer, because I don't know how I would unpatch my game now that it is patched. Maybe I just don't know, but that is a bummer, and it would hate to be like, all right, I have to sacrifice, some bug squashing so I can just play on a higher frame rate. It seems like kind of backtracking a bit, but yeah, hopefully more developers are kind of on the ball with that, and it doesn't seem like it's too heavy of a lift depending on the game and whether it. I don't know. I don't want to speak for developers and their games, but I would love to see more of it. Just gonna check our map real quick. All right, we are good. So, a very mountainous region we're in here. We're in the Clane region of 15. If you're unfamiliar with kind of the setting here, it's a open world with 3 main areas. You got the mountainous Clane region, which is kind of the last of the 3. You have the kind of prairie land, which is Dusky, and you have finally you have gotcha. Yep. Red Dead, Bloodborne. Yep, all great picks. Last of Us 60 frames, would love it all. And yeah, Order 80. I loved 86. I actually platinumed that one. I think I said earlier, and I thought that was very, very underrated. And I think it was kind of cool that it was running at 24 frames. It was one of those games that was like, just kind of very artistic. The story, I would have loved for it to be a touch longer, but I thought it was a very cool game. I'd love to see a sequel, but I think fan reaction unfortunately had a nasty kind of toll on Ready at Dawn in the studio, but it's always on the table. I'd bite. I totally echo your sentiment, but yeah. Let's see. I said Clane, Dusky, and why am I blanking on the first region of this game? Huh, Lucis is the kingdom. I had it on the tip of my tongue, and I've played this game for so long now. Let's zoom out real quick. Lead. That's it, Lead. Of course, how could I forget? Good old Lead. It's a rundown. You can't unpatch games, sadly. Yeah, unless you have the disc. At least, okay, no drops. Oh, I can... That's a nice medium. I can at least deal with it being at a locked or more or less 30. But yeah, that's a shame. Maybe there's some wizardry that can happen, but we'll see. Maybe that'll be on the back burner for now. I certainly have no shortage of games to play through on the PS5. I know it's kind of a rough year in terms of getting games out and delays and whatnot. So there's a big backlog I have of PS4 games I want to wrap up. New Yakuza Like a Dragon, I haven't even touched. Persona, so many RPGs, tons of stuff. So it'll keep me busy. Maybe I'll keep Last Guardian for a little later to see if there's any movement there. But good to know. That is so funny. So we're seeing the campground that we camped at. Maybe I don't know in game time a few hours ago. In real time, I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. But yeah. So I totally unintentionally did a loop. Originally, I was just gonna... It was like a dead end. It's like a town that's located... You go down this road, and there's a little dungeon over there, but... In any case.
Indeed.
Yeah. Let's see. I will say, I do love the music of 15. I think it's really got a killer soundtrack, and... It's just a shame that every time you pop up the menu in this game, it cuts out of it. Yeah, I think so. And I think what warms my heart with what Microsoft is doing is you see games like Ori and the Will of the Wisps, where I played that game on base Xbox One, where it was like, I think it was running at 30 frames, and it wasn't even really at a high resolution. And now you can play it at 60, probably really high resolution. You can play it at 120. You can certainly bump it up to 4K. I don't know what combination of the two. I imagine it'd be really hard to keep up with a 4K 120. Or 4K 60 more or less. Let alone a 4K 120. But it's good to have the option. So hopefully we'll see Sony kind of get on the ball with that. It's kind of my impression of the generation so far too. Just kind of early impressions between the Series X and the PS5, where it's like I think Microsoft's doing a lot of pro-consumer, really friendly stuff in terms of just backwards compatibility and smart delivery and things like that. Hopefully Sony follows suit. Love to see it.
Oh, nice here.
Makes me want to take a nap.
It actually is 4K 120. Wow. It's impressive. I got to go back and replay it. 6K 60. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Wow, that's sick. Wow. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna go back and play it now. I remember playing the game and I was just like, it looks good, but it doesn't look like incredible. I totally just needed to. I played it at the wrong time. I played it on my base Xbox One. Yeah, I'm excited to rediscover that game all over again. That was really fun one. From Software games, love From Software. Tried on a Series X on HDR. Yeah, beautiful, awesome, wow. From Software, I love From Software. It's funny because I never really got into Dark Souls for some reason. So I played Demon Souls on PS3. I still have to get the Demon Souls remake, the remaster from Blue Point. I played a little bit of Dark Souls 1. I like it. I have nothing against it. But really, what From Software games I resonated with like a lot was Bloodborne and Sekiro. Bloodborne really dug Bloodborne. I want that 60 frame patch too. I'm definitely in that camp. I'm not gonna make the same mistake. We're going right. And Sekiro. I loved Sekiro as my game of the year 2019. Wasn't a lot going on that year, so it wasn't really a steep competition. But I did love Sekiro a lot. So my favorite From game, probably Bloodborne, followed by Sekiro. And I've heard a lot of good things about Dark Souls 3 and how kind of the pace of that game is similar. So I'll have to check that one out. I'll check out the whole series, and I'll do the Demon Souls remaster remake too. But for whatever reason, just the slower pace of the Dark Souls ones, I just never clicked quite as much. It's a good series though, and I'm pumped for Elden Ring too. Love the fact that the enemies in this game cannot catch up to you. I would really hate to be fighting, having to battle every 5 seconds.
Real nice here.
All right, so looks like we're making some progress in the Clane region. I love it. We haven't even really gone through a third of the map. Is the funny thing. So it's like we're seeing more of the mountainous. Like we've gotten away from the big mountains. We're kind of the rocky area now. We'll be heading into more of the flat greenery soon. But yeah, it's definitely a impressive game world. It's kind of empty. There's not a lot of great stuff to do in it, and the side quests are kind of meaningless. But it's a pretty world. Definitely will give it that. Gladio, you getting a good jog in? Ignis, what are you doing, man? Ignis. Okay, well. Started with Bloodborne, having completed, and then moved on to Demon Souls Remake. Platinum did. Moved on to Dark Souls 3. Congrats on the Platinum. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one. Is it pretty... I don't know if you played the original Demon Souls. Was it similar to that? All I can tell is that it looks awesome, and I've been listening to the soundtrack, again, on a work playlist, and gorgeous soundtrack. It seems like a real stellar game, and a good launch title, too. You can only play one game. Which would you choose? One game. So, what are the factors we got to keep in mind for playing the one game? So, okay. Since it's the first one in the Soul series, yeah, maybe I will pick up the remake and work from there. But yeah, in terms of ideal game, so I'd have to play a game that would be replayable, right? So if I could only play one game, it'd have to be a game that I could play over and over again. So Final Fantasy XII, it's my favorite game, but it probably would not be the game that'd be best for repeat plays. So It's tough. Love the remake. Cool. Yeah, my answer probably would have to be like something like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So that's a game I've been playing a lot of. I know I have some fellow Punish Backlog writers. They're or one of our Punish Backlog writers is definitely a Melee enthusiast. So you die to hear me say that, but. Smash Brothers Ultimate, just because there's so much replayability. You can play it online. You can play it with friends. That one, I think I put in like 300 hours. It would either be that or it would be probably a card game like Hearthstone. Problem is, Hearthstone can be quite a money sink. And I've got some previous broadcasts, too, of me just, years back playing Hearthstone back in the heyday. And it's not... I don't know. It's kind of like the MMO thing, right? Where I guess if I had to pick one, I'd probably say like, hey, like Final Fantasy 14. What game did I hear your thoughts on? Yeah, dude, I'm trying to remember now. I don't know. Maybe it was... Could it have been something Final Fantasy related? I'm not sure. But we can change the question. Let's say, I don't know, what are you playing recently? Or what's some of your favorite games? Yeah, what have you been playing? What do you really want to shout out? Oh, there's no need to slow down this car. I don't know why he's slowing down. Guess he doesn't want to hit one of the guys. Oh, that's a nice little sunset going on.
Precipitation.
Oh, it's gonna rain. Thanks, Ignis. Weatherman Ignis up here. Good stuff. Thanks for the astute observation. Gonna check the map. Alright, we going in the right spot. I feel like we've been looking at this landmark for, like, ever. It's a nice one, but, whew, really gives you a sense of scale of this game. Parking. Oh, yeah. What is this? The thicket? One of the side areas? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good, nice little side quest down there. Good dungeon. And the Terra Battle crossover thing. Why is it in the game? I don't know. But it's fun. GTA 5, multiplayer games like COD, Dead by Daylight. Playing games from the Plus collection. Nice. 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 One of the things I have heard that Dead by Daylight, right? It's gotten a lot better over time, hasn't it? It's like kind of like it's one of those games that I don't know if it was good or bad when it first released, but I think maybe one of the outlets did like a re-review and said it was really kind of a lot of good content. They've been adding it over time, adding to it. What's your how is the game? Definitely on my to-do list, and I have friends that play it and swear by it, so definitely take your word for it, and I'll try out the rec, but I don't know if you're... Next, my platinum will be Uncharted 1 Remaster, as I only need to do cleanup. Okay. It's funny, we were just having a conversation, me and a few other friends, about Uncharted as a series. Power to you. I don't know if I'd have the mental fortitude to platinum Uncharted 1. I just feel like it's... I don't know how easy or difficult that game is, but I guess you'd have to play it on crushing to do it. And I remember that game being kind of hard on some of the even like normal. Like that was just like compared to the rest of the series, it felt like abnormally hard for some reason, but definitely a good challenge. Least favorite aspects of 15. Oh yeah, you're digging in on. So I went through a long-winded intro when we started the stream, but basically 15, it's like story. I mean, where do you want to go? Basically, anything that's not named the characters or the dungeons, the graphics or the music are the things I don't like about this game. So like, I don't like the plot. I think the plot is kind of full of gaps. It doesn't really make any sense. It's chopped up piecemeal. You lose it to Kingsglaive. You lose it to the Brotherhood anime. You lose it to the Dark Horse not the comic, but the compendium book that they have on the side that's on my shelf right now. You lose it to the DLC pieces of content, which, by the way, are really good. They are good. I recommend that if you haven't played them, you play them. But that's definitely has to be probably number one with the game. And then secondly, it's the combat. It's a lot of cool ideas, and I, of course, love doing this. The warp and, having warp points is super fun. Switching between weapons, having the armor is great. I never really feel like I'm doing it right. It's like there was no real kind of documentation of, like, combos, things like that. So I like to compare it to a game like Devil May Cry 5 or even Final Fantasy VII Remake, where very clear how you can kind of set yourself up for success in those games. And it's fun, and one of the things that I definitely recommend with 15 is, like, level up, overpower yourself, get access to Armiger Unleashed, which is part of the Royal Edition, and you're going to feel like a badass, and it's going to make the combat feel kind of inconsequential, but, I mean, Noctis is a king, so he should fight like he's a badass king. But yeah, pretty much everything about 15, aside from, like, the rapport between these four guys, Yoko's awesome soundtrack. I do love Altissia as a city. I think is one of the most finely crafted. It's like a really fun city to walk around. It's not a ton to do outside of the Coliseum minigame, but it's fun. And yeah, outside of like Altissia in 15, I think Wall Market in 7 Remake's got a great town. They both do. And yeah, like it's one of the best RPG towns I can think of, and that's giving me an article idea for something to write up. Best RPG towns to live in or something. Altissia would be fun. It's like Venice. So I've totally been blowing past my camping strategy, which was just, camp at night and avoid all the monsters, hopping on. But again, c'est la vie. It happens. It evolved a lot from the beginning and had a lot of characters compared to the few in the beginning devs. Yeah, they sometimes mess up a lot. For sure. No doubt. And look, I mean, I'm not throwing blame at any one person. I know it's something that started with Tetsuya Nomura, the director, and then, not the mess, like the game started with him. And then it was transitioned to Hajime Tabata. Big team working on the game throughout it, and a lot of development woes, so it's definitely a game of, like, lost potential and potential kind of like left on the table. But I'm happy with, I've made my peace with the game that we ended up getting. And yeah, not mistakes, but things happen in development, and I think the cool thing now is they drew the line. They were like after episode art, and they're like, all right, we had plans for future DLC, but it's just, I think we're gonna just cut our losses here and work on the next big thing, which is Forspoken, which I'm super excited about. I think it looks awesome, and I think building it from the ground up for PS5 and PC should be a very, very smart decision. I think they'll be able to do a lot of stuff with the SSD technology. And of course, now with Yoshi P's team heading up Final Fantasy 16, I think we're living in a really good time for Square Enix games, where you got the two of those, you got a World Ends With You sequel. It's gonna be awesome. Most memorable boss battles. Yeah. There are some good ones. I think the Titan fight is great. I don't want to give too much away for people who haven't played through, but definitely kind of the latter end of the game. Some of the big fights are there, and if you played Royal Edition, you're familiar with some expanded boss fights toward the end of the game, which are all pretty good. But anything involving one of the Astrals, yeah, is great. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I know for Dead by Daylight, it's definitely kind of like almost like the Freddy Krueger, kind of asymmetric gameplay. I'm definitely a fan of that kind of stuff. I know it kind of fell flat with Evolve, other similar kind of game, maybe like I can't remember if Alien Isolation was like that too, or if that was strictly single player. But I love the idea of asymmetric gameplay. I know on the Nintendo front, Wii U, rest in peace, rest its soul. We played a lot of Mario Chase using the gamepad. I'm super bullish on those types of games moving forward, and I think I don't know. I think when we think about how technology advances, there's going to be a lot on the table for games like that. I'll definitely have to give Dead by Daylight a better look, a bigger look. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other big boss fights from 15 that I'm missing. Gotta say Behemoth, you know, early on, definitely kind of an iconic fight. And there's a lot of good hunts in the game, and Adamantoise, I don't know how you pronounce it, but the super boss in this game was definitely meaty. Did you like Blitzball? I did like Blitzball. Funny enough, I think one of the things that I really appreciate about some of my favorite Final Fantasy games is having that really solid metagame. So, for example, Final Fantasy X has Blitzball, and it was kind of fun. You felt like you were kind of a GM of your favorite sports league, and you're signing players to your team and stuff. Yeah, so I think 10, you have Triple Triad for 8, which is just a fun game. I think it's Tetra Battle for 9, which I'm not super hot on. 10-2 has its own version of Blitzball, which is still fun. Yeah, so anything kind of like a Gwent, kind of system, you know, you see with games like Witcher and stuff like that. But yeah, I love Digital Foundry. I think Digital Foundry does awesome work in terms of kind of showing the tech upgrades. And I saw a recent video on the Xbox side where they looked at some of the recent Bethesda games like Prey and Dishonored remastered Game of the Year edition, you know, Dishonored 1, and how it looks on Series X now that they have that kind of technology to bump up the frame rate from 30 to 60. So that's something that's actually really cool, and I don't think we even touched on, where it's like you could have a game that's capped at 30, right? And that's fine, but Microsoft could have its own proprietary way to bump it up to 60. And if it works and it's scalable and it doesn't have to rely on the developers flipping a switch, if it can be done on the Microsoft side, Team Xbox, that opens the door for a lot of games to look a hell of a lot better, right? So I'd love to see Sony kind of implement its own technology and do it for things like Last Guardian, right? It'd be awesome to play Last Guardian at 60 frames again.
I'm going all out.
But yeah, totally. Digital Foundry, they're doing awesome work. That's kind of how I'm playing this generation too, where it really feels like Series X and PS5 have comparable system power, right? So I've definitely been kind of playing it by ear with the different games, third-party games I play. I'm doing Valhalla on PS5 and Watch Dogs on Series X. Elder Scrolls, yeah. Will Elder Scrolls come to PlayStation? Hard to say. My gut tells me... At first I wanted to say yeah, because I wanted to say that anything that's an established franchise or anything that's been in development for a few years, I think that it's less a matter of Phil Spencer and Xbox honoring the agreement. I don't think that's really that much a concern of theirs. I think it's more so that they want to not kill any kind of work that was on the table. So if they were doing any kind of work in terms of keeping the PS5 hardware in mind, why scrap it? But in light of some recent comments, I think he had an Xbox Wire post. I think he did some interviews during that Bethesda roundtable. It really does sound like outside of Deathloop and I'm totally blanking on. Deathloop and Deathwire Tokyo. That might be it in terms of PlayStation 5 games with Bethesda. But I'm not. I say never say never, and it's so far out at this point where, I'm not. I don't. For me, I'll be able to play it, but I wouldn't lose sleep over it. I think we'll know soon enough, and it'll still be several years away at that point anyway. That game's far out still. Yeah, I will definitely watch those Digital Foundry videos, Ori and Last Guardian. I'm actually super curious to see what's going on in the background for that hardware, so I'll check it out. We're passing a big landmark here, big landmark. So this is Cape Caim, I think is the pronunciation. It's kind of the big end of the world part where, Noctis and crew sail off and kind of hit the next part of their journey. But in terms of map-wise, I think that actually is good. That's a good sign. It means that we are heading into Dusky region finally. So we've officially pretty much done a full loop around the Clane region, which means I would say our progress is at about hopefully a little more than a third. So we're making that trek little by little, but we're getting there, and we're going to see some fresh scenery, which should be good. We're getting it out of the way. Love getting the report cards Straight D's. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's super impressive. Like, when you said that, 4K 120, 6K 60, it's like... That just blows my mind. Blows my mind. So much going on. The map is huge. Map is huge. Again, I'll reiterate, it seems like big with like not a whole lot of substance, but I get what they were going for, to be honest. I feel like it's the kind of game where they wanted to give that sense of the road trip. Alright, get out of my face, Ronan. They wanted to really simulate the road trip experience, and you know, if you're not intended to be walking around everywhere like I am, right? Like in Witcher 3, you're not intended to be walking around places. You're supposed to be on horseback, which saves a lot of time. Here, you're supposed to be driving, and that saves a lot of time. So you could do a loop in the Regalia probably in, I don't know, 20 minutes to half an hour, and here it's probably going to be several times that. HDR is also beautiful. Yeah. This I'm playing right now on 4K HDR setup, so definitely can make good use of it. And I gotta say, the colors look really good in Noctis's terms. When he picks up a gemstone in Final Fantasy 15, he says the colors are amazing. So that's how I feel watching this game with HDR enabled. It's definitely a good experience. Another game that really pops is Death Stranding. I think that game looks incredible. HDR looks really, really good. Again, shout out MVP to Noctis' shirt, which is letting us run without expending stamina. So this process would take a hell of a lot more. Oh!
I'll circle around.
Okay, unskippable cutscene because Aranea is now in the fray. Do we dish Aranea or do we help her out?
They won't know what hit them.
I don't know. This is, I feel like she comes around so infrequently, let's just take it down. This is like a once in... 3 times in a lifetime experience for us. I've seen her twice. And now you can see the combat of 15 in action. Oh, it's fun. It's fun, and that's kind of code for it's not so fun. Camera, kind of a mess. Do some warp strikes. And I'm so over-leveled that was nothing.
I was out taking down some demons and just happened to be in the area.
Oh, hi.
You can say that again. Well,
okay.
Back to the old grind.
See you later.
Yeah. See ya.
Which games to receive a PS5 upgrade the most? Yeah, it's a good question. So, definitely top of the list, Last Guardian. Let's get that 60 frames going. Second would be Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Mainly because now that I've played a little bit of Valhalla, I really see the potential for... I see the potential for what it can look like for prior Assassin's Creed games, where you have your eagle that can soar through the air, and you can kind of cut between it. So on the SSD, it's definitely going to help the loading, and also the game would just look awesome in 60 frames. And it feels like a step back to go from something like Valhalla, which is running at a really nice 60 frames, and back to Odyssey, which is running at 30, right? So that's probably my second one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Bloodborne. There you go. Bloodborne would definitely be. I'll bump up Bloodborne to second, for everyone who wants it too. Like it's all about the games that didn't run that great to begin with on PlayStation 4. So, the frame pacing on Bloodborne was all over the place. So, yeah, I'm definitely like, let's get it going on. Let's get that fixed. But a lot of people are saying that Sony maybe wants to hold off for some reason. Like they've got a remaster in the works. I don't know. Seems like a lot of work to... if you're doing a proper remaster, hey, maybe Bluepoint's doing something on it, which I kind of doubt, but I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. Whatever they got. See ya. Alright. But yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Those are the top 3, for sure. Definitely the top 3. I'm trying to think if there's anything that would, be really enhanced. I think it has to come down to technical games, right? So if it's an artistic game, you kind of already, right? We're not looking at any real indies that already look damn good. Maybe Red Dead Redemption 2. That would be kind of nice. I think it already looks damn good, but they could probably do some cool stuff there. 7 Remake we're getting, but Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it doesn't really look that substantial. Yeah, that's a good point. Until Dawn. Yeah, yep. I enjoyed that game. It definitely did run at a kind of loosey-goosey frame rate. Yeah, that would be a good one. That'd be a good one. And also, I feel like that immersion for a horror game, it's really important to have that continuity. Like, give me the 60 frames per second. That's good. That'd be good to have. That'd be good to have. So that's definitely one I'd replay too, just because of the branching paths and some of the star-studded cast that we have in that game. Shout out Punish Backlog. We've got Killer, Until Dawn, article ranking, power ranking all the characters in that game. So Red Dead 2, GTA 5, totally. They would definitely benefit from the better load times. I think we would love it. I think GTA 5, I'm actually very curious to see what Rockstar does, because they've already promised the next-gen version. Yeah, Until Dawn already okay, so it's already getting some of the benefit, mostly 60 most of the time on PS5. Cool. Nice. Yeah, I know GTA 5, we've got the, in traditional Rockstar, true Rockstar fashion, we had the PS3 and 360 version to start. Then we had the Xbox One and PS4 version and PC. And now we're getting PS5 and Xbox Series X. So I'm curious to see what they include, but we'll have to see what happens. Fan of VR gaming? Yeah, I do. I got my PSVR sitting here. I'm stoked for the PSVR 2, which was recently announced, and their new kind of cool Oculus-like controllers. I'm excited to get out of the Move controller land. But yeah, PSVR, it's good stuff. Some of my favorites on that front are definitely Moss, cute kind of action platformer. Obviously Astrobot, can't say enough about that. Awesome game. And my favorite personally is definitely Beat Saber, which is just such a fun music rhythm game. It's like if you miss kind of the days of bringing around the clunky Rock Band and Guitar Hero peripherals, definitely play some Beat Saber. Totally. Yep. Load times and frame per second for GTA 5 would be nice. It'd be nice to see what we do there. But I'd like to see some additional content too. I know they're obviously adding a lot constantly with GTA Online, and we don't see a ton in terms of single player. Certainly no expansions or anything of that sort. I don't expect us to get any more single player content. Like, I'm fine with that, but it would be cool to get some stuff. And I will have to say, I would love acknowledgement of the Lamar Rose Franklin meme. Can we get some kind of star? That would be incredible. Just some kind of nod to that. Give us photo mode, but it's like a Lamar Rose Franklin mode. So if I'm not playing on PC, I don't have to worry about, I can still mod my own scenes like that. I would hands down upgrade / buy the game just for that. Like I'm at a point where I didn't play too much of GTA 5 to begin with, but I would totally dive back in for that. Upcoming games, yeah, definitely several. It's kind of a lot going on there. Old game franchise. Okay, some good questions. Yeah, so upcoming games and some revivals. Let's see if we can thread this together. So upcoming games I'm excited for. World Ends With You sequel, which is kind of a revival. We're getting resuscitating the 2006 World Ends With You series with the anime too, so that's happening. Obviously stoked for Final Fantasy 16 whenever the heck it comes out, hopefully this year. Stoked for Kena and can't remember the subtitle, but Kena and the Spirits of the Forest or something. Looks awesome from Ember Labs, and definitely very Will-O'-the-Wisps, like a cross between Will-O'-the-Wisps and Studio Ghibli or Pixar, so stoked for that game. There's not like a ton, definitely Hollow Knight Silksong is going to be awesome. Yeah. And then in terms of revivals, hey, shout out, I did another revival piece in terms of Nintendo franchises especially. Let's get some Advance Wars going. Let's get some Punch-Out. Let's get Hotel Dusk, which if you haven't played before is another stellar game. It's a visual novel on the Nintendo DS where you hold the game like a book and you solve a mystery. So I'd love to see that. Lots and lots of revivals we could be doing. Beyond Good and Evil 2. I think that game is vaporware at this point, but we'll see. In terms of like revivals, I don't have too much because I feel like in terms of the vaporware that I've grown up on, it's really like this is me. I'm losing the baggage tonight with Final Fantasy 15, and once I get back to Last Guardian, it'll be that as well. So, in terms of like series I want back, it's really like give me Punch Out, give me a new Jack game. You know, now that Naughty Dog is kind of working on new stuff, presumably, let's get Jack 5, right? I think it's Jack 5. There's some good stuff we could be doing, and I'm sure Microsoft has some older IP it could get going. Perfect Dark's a good example, so the initiative working on that. See how that pans out. So there's some good stuff to look forward to for sure. Psychonauts 2, Halo Infinite. Glad both games got some time in the oven, too. Making sure we're not rushing things. We don't want them to come out kind of half-baked. That's what happened with this game. Case in point. Oh, yeah. We are... Woo! Nice little view coming out here. We are coming out on the Dusky region, I think, finally. Woo! Well, I guess maybe we've technically been there for a while, but we're going to get a nice little view coming up soon. Scenic little spot. Let's go hug the left side here and check it out. Yeah, there we go. We can see kind of the main area in Dusky, which is where Final Fantasy 15, the Dusky demo, was first kind of introduced to players. Cyberpunk. Yeah. It's another one where it's like, hey, Cyberpunk needed some time in the oven, right? Needed some time in the oven. That's the big kind of trend in games these days is bigger teams, a lot of bigger technology and tools, but not a lot of stuff to work with there, where we're not giving enough dev time to people, and you know, crunch culture and all that, short timelines, and it comes out half baked, and you can't blame the developers for that. So I've played a little bit of it on Series X, where it's not complete kind of trash tier, you know, on base consoles. So touched on it a bit. It's okay, you know, nothing. I wasn't blown away from what I played, but it didn't seem bad by any stretch. I'll definitely wait for CD Projekt Red to do some more of the performance patches, but we'll see. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm glad you stumbled on it. Yeah, it's just chill vibes, you know, nothing. I apologize that we're not doing a lot of combat or like story stuff, but it really is it kind of shows the greatest parts of 15, which is like, hey, it's a good-looking game. It's a good-sounding game. And you can see a lot of the awesome vistas that we're doing here. So, glad you're here for the ride, man. And the favorite song's coming on again, Wanderlust. Sweet. Got that nice lighting.
Cut it out, man.
Oh, yeah, totally. And thanks for asking great questions. Ignis, let's go. Oh yeah, we're coming up on definitely the real meat of the region here, which is, I don't know if there's a name for the landmark there, but it's definitely kind of the defining piece of geography there. It's nice looking. I don't even know what you call it. It's so bizarre looking, like a rock formation. And the funny thing is, with Forspoken, the upcoming game from Luminous Studios, developer of this game, seems to use the same asset, which I don't know suggests, is this like a spiritual predecessor or successor to 15, or is it just kind of they're reusing assets and being kind of crafty, or is it an Easter egg or something different? Who knows? We'll find out. Yeah, 7 remakes broken into parts, huh? I like it. Got another piece. Oh, we're hitting on a lot of the pieces that we've done, but we've wrote a little bit about that as well. Where I'm all for it. I think Midgar as being kind of the main focus for 7 Remake Part 1 was smart. I think it's honestly the best part of the game anyway. In the original, like, I really enjoyed Midgar, so being able to really tease out a lot of what was going on there at the time and build on that blueprint. You know, we have Advent Children, we have Dirge of Cerberus, we have so many parts of the compilation, parts of the kind of the universe that stem from Midgar, so being able to really capitalize on that with the remake was smart. Although I do lament the fact that with Crisis Core, PSP game, good game, great characters, not mentioned at all. No Easter eggs, no appreciation. No appreciation. But yeah. Returnal. Yeah. Housemarque's new game. You know, it looks exciting. Resogun developers, kind of that arcadey vibe, and it's going to be a roguelike. We're going to check this. Yeah, you know. Kind of indifferent on it. Could be good. They're charging $70 for it, so it better be good. We'll see. We'll see. Wildlife.
Knocked. Overhead.
Yeah, Miles Morales. I actually have not, unfortunately, had the chance to play Miles Morales. Definitely played Spider-Man, platinumed it. Yeah, liked the game, but wish it could have been longer. Yeah, it's funny.
So, what's with
I've heard that from some friends of mine, that good game. Could have been longer. I don't know if you did all the side quests. Did you platinum it, or did you just kind of do the main beat? Feels nice. Feels like a nice little game, and I definitely like kind of more of the inclusive angle to a lot of the storytelling there, where we're kind of getting kind of a really middle slice of vertical slice, or whatever we want to call it, a nice slice of Manhattan or Harlem. I think getting to know some of the people there. So definitely been meaning to try it out, and now that I got the PS5, I'll be. Oh, you platinumed it today? Oh, good for you. Sweet. Are we taking? No, we're not taking a dirt road. We don't do that, Ignis. We're not getting your shoes dirty. You did all the side. Okay, you enjoyed them. Cool. Yeah, I've been meaning to play it, and I don't know. There's not really a good reason why I haven't, but I'm definitely been meaning to. I was a big fan of the base game, so to speak. I have high hopes for it too, and I think Insomniac are really gonna. They're really going to knock it out of the park. I think it's cool. They got the security. Now they got purchased by Sony, PlayStation, so they can kind of run wild. Everyone's, chomping at the bit for the new Spider-Man content. And now that they're... the one thing I will say is I'm a little amazed with the studio. They must be pretty big. They must be like, we're talking like 150, 200 plus people, because for them to be have worked on Spider-Man, came out in 2018, worked on... Miles Morales for 2021 and 2020, and of course, Ratchet and Clank for 2021. It's a lot to balance. 60 frames in ray tracing. Yeah, that's definitely nice. Ray tracing, yeah. I'll definitely have to give it a go on PS5. I was waiting to make sure I had the PS5 secured before playing it, but that's pretty sweet. How's the DualShock stuff on it, too? I heard it was pretty minimal, but, like, is it obtrusive? Is it pretty fun? Like, that's kind of the big differentiator, too. It's like, outside of, let's say, ray tracing and 60 frames, do you like the way the DualShock, or the DualSense, I should say, fits? Like, what are the kind of cues? Like, does it affect how you swing around and stuff like that? Curious.
Magitech engine. It's close.
Thank you, Ignis. Ignis the Weatherman, including Magitech engines. let's hustle. Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah, and, jumping into 15, my pro tips, I mean, it would be to wait for the guy whenever I write it. But no, my pro tips are probably to, honestly, skip a lot of the filler. Don't do any of the fetch quests, really. Just kind of, don't be afraid to stick to the main story, and honestly, just appreciate it for what it is. It's a road trip that, if you just stick to the main story, it's not too long, but it does kind of give that led credence or kind of help support that idea that it's a fleeting memory for the squad here. So I would say don't be afraid to stay. Don't feel obligated to go off the beaten path. There are some memorable side quests in the form of the dungeons in the game, so I would encourage you to try out the Royal Arms dungeons. Yeah, it's I would say, if it's not a Royal Arms quest, if it's not like specifically marked on the map as like a dungeon, or it's not kind of like a hunt that you want to do because you enjoy the combat, I would kind of steer clear. And there are so many hunts, don't feel obligated to do them all. Don't be kind of OCD like myself and feel the need to check them off the list. It's not worth it. Yeah, oh, cool. Miles Morales, it's cool that they were able to patch it in, and cool to see that it's, kind of a cool little, I don't want to call it a gimmick, but a nice little feature for the DualSense. That's cool. Could they have done more for 15? Oh, yeah. That's kind of what this whole stream is about, the lap of doom, the lap of death. It's kind of me coming to terms with my playthrough, where it's just, look, it's a gorgeous game. It looks and sounds great, but there's so many repeated audio lines that I think it should have just... I think they needed more time in the sound booth. They needed like 3 times the amount of lines, if not like 4 or 5. I think the game world, honestly, as big as it is and as crazy as this sounds, it needed to be bigger. It's probably well known at this point that the game kind of takes a more linear turn, like toward the second half of the game, and that's fine. Like I definitely enjoyed it, but I would have liked to have had kind of the road trip resume on that second half, and it felt like a missed opportunity. So definitely would have improved it there. Oh yeah, sorry, and I know that you're familiar with 15. So yeah, the DualSense. I mean, I haven't played Miles Morales, so I don't know how they could necessarily improve on that. But if it's a little kind of a little thingy that you feel when swinging, I think that's actually pretty cool, like with the triggers. I actually had a friend of mine, a fellow writer, that I think when he was playing Miles Morales, he noted it too, that he's not a big fan of the adaptive triggers for the DualSense. So like the fact that it locks down, you get harder to pull when you're doing certain things in games. But I think he enjoyed it in Miles Morales enough that I think you have the option of turning down the features, the sensitivity or whatever, the rumbling intensity, and he turned it down to the lowest setting. So it's cool. Like, he was still able to enjoy it, and I think he liked it enough, but it was a little... For other games, it was a little much. What? Oh, yeah. I'm totally blanking on what that is called, but that is a big one. Big landmark, big story implication, hint, little foreshadowing, but it's a pretty important place. And it's also Golden Key, which we're actually, technically we'd be going straight down, but we actually are going to make a little pit stop here and say hello. Yeah, 16. It's interesting. Basically, don't be like 15. I don't want to drag 15, but I think the nice thing about 16 is it's an opportunity to kind of take some learnings from 15 and 7 Remake, despite the fact that it's being done by a different team, separate team than either of those games. In like separate technology, it's still a great opportunity to build on the learning. So it's going to be active, not turn-based, which is great. I think it's going to have a little bit of the high octane energy of 15 with kind of warping around and kind of high energy, realistic enemies, kind of Dark Souls-esque combat. Not that this is Dark Souls, but for that game, it seems very Dark Souls heavy, Dark Souls inspired. And yeah, I think for that game, really what I'd like to see is tighter story first and foremost, and probably, hopefully not open world, and I hope it's just kind of a tighter world that feels like just more impactful, and the combat needs to be tighter, but I think we know it probably will be, mainly because a Devil May Cry, a former Devil May Cry gameplay director or engineer on it is on it now, so a designer, you know, with all that action know-how, he's going into this new experience with Final Fantasy 16. So hopefully it's a lot better. And I love the combat in Devil May Cry 5. It's definitely a winner. So fingers crossed for that one. And of course, Yoshi P as producer, you know, it's going to get out on time. We know that game's coming out. Some speculation as to whether it's next year. It's been in the works for a while, so probably at the latest, I would like to think end of next year. Maybe we'll be surprised and it'll come out this year, but of course, coronavirus, so never know for sure, and I think it'd be a little presumptuous to assume anything at this point.
Safe and sound.
Hello, Golden Key.
It's nice to not have to kill anything.
We haven't been doing that the entire stream, Prompto, so we have our Chocobo station here, we could be doing stuff. Hey, let's do something for fun, shouldn't we? Oh, I was going to refuel our car. Actually, let's still do it. So I'm going to... No, don't do that. Oh, what a shame. I was going to call the Regalia to this parking lot. Can I do it? Tow the car? Oh, don't tow it to Hammerhead. All right. Well, a shame. I was going to refill the Regalia despite the fact that we are not driving it. But I can't warp it there. 15 problems. It's all good. But yeah, we're making some major headway in this tour of the world. We are now exiting the Duskai region, so it's actually pretty quick. Did I finish what? Did I finish 15, or did I finish the run? The run, so to speak, goes on, but I can give us a little bit of a preview just so you're in the know. But so we started in Lestalem here. We circled around. We went down here. We did a loop at the Rock of Raveno. We did all the way around here, and we are here. So we have to go through Lead, and then we'll be ending our trek. So we're actually, I would say we are 65. Like, we're like 2/3 of... I had not finished the run. I'm sorry. I know. It's... this is 15 in a nutshell. It's like, it's fun in limited doses, but you do too much of it and it gets kind of grating. But we've done about 65% of the run. We started in Lestalem, so started in Lestalem, and I'm trying to get a real sense of when we started. But we've been running this bad boy for a little while. And the funny thing is, I said we would track the progress. I'm curious because, I mean, I said we were going to end when one of two things happened. We were going to end when we maxed out Gladio's survival skill to 10, or when we do a lap. So my hypothesis was hopefully I could platinum this game by doing a lap of the game world. So it would almost validate my frustrations with this game if we did a full lap and I get to Lestalem, and that still was not enough to max out Gladio's character and get my platinum. Yeah. So, all right, we're going to stop at a campsite on the way here, and we're going to check it out, actually. Let's see. So maybe the run will end here. Maybe we'll be able to end on a nice little high note. I'm going to call it... It's a win. It's a win. I think it's a win. Probably either way, it's a win if we max out Gladio's skill, because then we got the platinum, and maybe we'll do a victory lap, and we'll end by going to Lestalem. At least then I can feel good about it. It's a loss if we do the lap and I still got to max out Gladio, because that means we're probably doing another one of these streams another day. Please, let's not do that. Anything but that.
Real nice here. Indeed.
Good banter. Oh, my favorite song. This is the Waltz di Fantastico. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's chill vibes only. Chill vibes only. I want to make sure I do not miss this campsite. That would be so funny. All right, it would not be funny. It'd be tragic. I feel bad having to even cut that song short. That was the lyrics my friend and I had for my college roommate and I had back in the day for that song was, I'm in love with Final Fantasy, I'm in love with it, I'm in love with it. But 15, it's hard to love you, my friend. Hard to love, but I've learned over time. Solhead Pass, and we got our campsite right here. Okay. Let's check the progress, please. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Did I miss the... Am I not at the campsite? Maybe I'm not. I jumped the gun a bit. No, it's here. Cool. Right here. Dana Haven. Alright, let's check the progress. Let's see how we're doing. Camp it up.
Early, isn't it?
It's cool.
It was a little early, I mean, it wasn't wrong. Oh, we got a C for time. I don't understand. We fought one thing. Please, Ignis, save me. What can we do to bump this? Let's give Gladio his favorite meal. Please. Save me from, did you not have any? You like skewered wild trout, Gladio? Because we can get you that. There you go. Some skewered wild trout. Yum. Alright, so we can see... Okay, that's the level. So, for perspective, let's see. We were at about third for his wheel here. This is irrelevant. Let's look at the next one. Oh, we are close. We're close. We're so close. Okay, so new hypothesis. Some cool shots. We'll go through the screens. Looking dapper, my friend. Looking dapper. Cool. My new hypothesis is by the time we finish this lap, this will be perfectly timed and Gladio will be maxed out, and it's just gonna be perfect. We'll have the stream to show for it. Some great vibes, some great conversation, and
You bet.
Let's hit it.
yeah, I'm actually stoked now. It's gonna be a win-win. Certainly a win-win. Love that song to open us. That's great.
Ooh, man, my arms are killing me.
Do I dare ask why?
You know, just been pumping some iron, getting them gains.
Yeah, I think this group's only got room
You
for
said it.
one musclehead.
Then Gladio better step aside, cause these guns shoot to kill.
You said it, my friend. You said it. Never have to play it again. It's gonna be a beautiful moment. It's gonna be sitting on my shelf. Gonna be a little bittersweet, actually. Might be a little emotional stream near the end here. Woo! This is admittedly, like, the least interesting environment, I feel like. It's just, like, rocks. It's like... yeah.
Feels so sluggish.
Indeed.
Hey, I hear you, Noct. I hear you. It does feel sluggish.
Hey, you want to watch where you're going?
Watch where we're going. I mean... watch who you're talking to, first off. It's the King of Lucis. Ghost, like Ghost of Tsushima? Yeah, I do like Ghost of Tsushima. I think it's a pretty solid game. A lot of my friends swear by it. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, which, power to them. It's definitely one that I'm looking forward to playing on PS5, getting the benefit of that, some of those visual enhancements, because I know Sony will, and Sucker Punch will deliver on those. But, yeah, I've heard the story heats up in the game, so definitely looking forward to giving it a go.
Thanks.
We got a nice little scenic landmark here. So we got the Big Rock / Adamantois. I can never get that right during the stream. It's a nice little pretty thing in the distance. You had to fight it. It's good. Sekiro 2 difficult? I don't think so. I don't think so. It depends on your kind of your definition of difficult, right? If we're using Dark Souls as an example, I've heard kind of varying things. I've heard that some people think Dark Souls is a more kind of challenging game, right? It is a beautiful game. I would say, I think it's just a different game, difficulty-wise, compared to Dark Souls. I think the bosses are super, super fun. I never got really frustrated with the game while playing. It was definitely a game where you have to kind of learn the ins and outs of it, just like with any From Software game, but it definitely is a game that rewards patience and kind of, just muscle memory. And I will say that the last fight in the main story made some people tear their hair out. It's definitely notorious for being pretty difficult, but such an accomplishment when you finish it. It's a fun fight. Alright, let's see if I can do this one from memory. I know we're not taking a left here. Oh, we're going through town.
Hey, wanna hit up the crow's nest?
No, we do not.
On weight? Certainly.
Yeah.
Savage. Ignis, come on, man. You know Prompto was a little chunky. That's not right.
Feels so
Wait a second.
sluggish.
What is going on here? There's a quest? Dare we take a second? Ah, Dave.
Y'all ought to be proud of yourselves for taking down that Adamantus.
Oh, I never took...
Made under history. Congratulations.
Wow, I did not turn that quest in. He better not warp me away from this road, because we have been stuck to this road. 65 hours-ish, 70 probably when we're done with this, so it's been a thrilling ride, and if you include the DLC, it'll be another, another 10 hours, so something like 80 hours.
Looky here, the heroes of legend. You kids are the talk of the town. No, the land.
Wow.
So, you made it out alive.
Yes, we
Not
did.
bad. Thanks to you boys, my research of long life is going swimmingly.
Sweet. Hand over the Oracle coins. No, I don't want that.
I'll be. Never thought I'd see 'em
Yeah, all the
moving
side characters in the game are giving us our due.
They're just waiting to be caught.
Oh, Iris. We picked flowers for you earlier in the stream.
Reggie wrestled with that old fella back in the day, and now you finished the job.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I recognize everyone here.
Peace, and it's thanks to y'all. The sound
This is
of
like-
simmering. Music to my ears.
Oh, so you can't, but if you go to the menu here, you can see. So, 15 tracks. Just trying to, yep, 66 hours.
I heard about Long Life.
So,
Seriously, that's amazing.
so let's say,
It's gonna go
yeah,
down in history.
75.
You defeated
Definitely been a journey, and there's a lot of games I probably would have rather invested the 75 hours of time into, but, it's been fun.
Could go for a cold one of these.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk to my
So
friend.
you know, I submitted my official
I do
report to
love
the
this song.
company.
It's a great,
I
this is
made
Bros
sure
on the
to say
Road.
what a great job you did.
Cool, thank you. Howdy, boys, you really did it. Put an end to the train. Oh, Wiz. Why couldn't Wiz show up? He's the Chocobo guy. What happened to Wiz? Oh,
So
gosh.
you boys came face to face with the Adamantus.
Everyone's here.
Gotta admit I'm a little jealous. You'll have to tell me all about it sometime.
You're not jealous. You are not jealous. It's a
Oh, hello there.
time-consuming boss
So you
battle.
left my kitchen's safe. But tell me, do the Adamantus seem...
Adamantus. We got it. All right, now we know it's the Adamantus.
Congrats on taking
Not making that
everything
mistake
down, huh?
again.
I mean, seriously, impressive stuff.
I tell you, it,
Thanks, Dino.
it makes me want to write articles again.
This guy's straight out of Goodfellas. Sweet. Okay, Dave. All right, Dave. See ya. All right, they forked over a bunch of Oracle Ascension coins. I can buy a ribbon for my efforts. Amazing. It'll be totally useless. What am I going to use it on? Because I pretty much did everything in this game. But all right, that was a nice little detour. I feel like this has been very much a walk through through the world and the characters. It's actually very poetic in a weird way. Okay, all right. No visual upgrades, runs at 60. Faster loading times. I don't even know how you have faster loading times than... I mean, on base PS4, I guess base PS4, PS4 Pro, and whatever, the HDD, it was really fast. It's notorious for the fast load. Not notorious. It's known for the fast loading times to the point where they had to nerf them, right? Just so people could see the tips on the screen, right? So can't even imagine. It must just be like instantaneous. I want to go to this part of the world. Boom, you teleport there.
Moving. Magitech engine. It's close.
Magitech engine. I will say our luck's been very good with the weather for this run through. It's rained a whopping once. Cannot complain. Cannot complain in the slightest.
If you could be reborn as anything, what would you be?
Easy. I'd want to be me.
Oh, what a great answer.
I know.
So that's interesting. I love how we had we're doing the questions and they even asked one of their own. Would you rather? I would say scale of 1 to 10 rating my experience with 15. I'd give it probably an 8. Maybe an 8. I would say if we're doing whole numbers. Again, like, it sounds like I hate it, but I definitely enjoyed my time with it. It's just kind of, I think this game could have easily been a 10. I think a lot of the things that went well for this game are really good, and I think if they had addressed, I mean, you could say that about any game, but I really do think that this was the game that I was kind of banking the money on being a 10. So I've learned from the experience, and now for Final Fantasy 16, my hope is definitely not a 10. I'd be happy with a 9. That'd be good. And yeah, that's cool to see about Miles Morales and the different enhancements, on the Pro. On the Pro going for PS5. Now they're even... Gladio, get out of the road, man.
Indeed.
Well, we're in the road, I guess, but...
Magitech engine. It's close.
Can these Magitech... Oh, my goodness. Stop following us. We're just living our lives. We're just trying to walk. We're going for a run. I mean, they're going for a jog. I mean, Noctis is going for a full-out sprint. I don't know what these people are doing. Like a leisurely jog. Nice. Did you say, was this for Miles Morales or was this for Tsushima? That's incredible. If it's, I mean, honestly, for any game, it's incredible, but definitely it seems like a Tsushima thing. All right, my question. So we can see the sign for Golden Key. That's the Hammerhead. All right, we'll make a slight. Oh man, what are we doing? Does this count? We'll do it. Miles Morales, cool. Actually, wow, that's pretty impressive. Actually, that's actually sweet loading. I know that was one of the games that Sony kind of shared off as being one of the big ticket enhancements was the Spider-Man, 2018 Spider-Man. So that's cool to see that it Remastered's got it. Miles Morales has got it. It's cool. So, actually, this is probably the one leg of the journey that's almost painful in my heart, just because it's so this is the beginning of the game where we start out in lead. So we're from this direction. So I'm now, yeah, they know how to use the SSD.
Thanks.
So we're pushing the car toward where I'm now. The camera's facing, and Stand By Me from Florence and the Machine is playing, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous intro to the game. Unfortunately, a lot of the story that got cut from 15 happens where we're now looking, which is to Insomnia, the city of Noctis's royal heritage, the Lucis Calum family of kings, prior kings, and yeah, if you want to learn about it, you got to watch Kingsglaive. Yeah, a next-gen version of Ghost. Yeah, I guess it depends on what you'd want to see from a next-gen Ghost, right? You know, like, if it's just visual enhancements, I feel like they could do it.
That was really good.
Yes. I used golden sea salt, which
you know, who knows?
Its mineral composition closely resembles...
Sorry, I had to interrupt myself.
Yeah.
That's a voice line I hadn't actually heard ever in 75 hours of this game.
Graduate.
Wow. So yeah, I would love that, honestly. Like if they could do a remake or a remaster, not a remake, a remaster of Tsushima. But I do think Sucker Punch probably working on some other projects. We could have the best of both worlds, right? Maybe some nice visual enhancements. Maybe a portion of the team doing that. And I think their next project, I'm curious, and I'm curious what you would think. Like, do you think it's going to be a Tsushima 2? Could it be a return to Infamous? Like Infamous Second Son 2 or Infamous 3? New IP?
Oh, thank goodness.
Probably seems a little unlikely that it would be a new IP, right? Because, I mean, they just did a new IP, right? So, I'd bite. I mean, basically, whatever they're doing, I'm here for.
What a relief!
But it's kind of the question I'm asking myself all the time nowadays, which is like Sony's slate of studios and Microsoft. It's kind of fun to theorize and think about what everyone's working on. Microsoft is far out, but at least we know what a lot of the studios are indeed working on. Okay, yeah. Yeah, new Infamous or Ghost 2. That's cool. All right, yeah, and I think probably odds are we're going to get one of the two, right? I think odds of getting just a brand new IP is probably slim. Yeah, Ghost 2, I'd like to see what they could do with it. I think the big question marks up in the air for this generation for Sony is definitely... Sucker Punch is like a small question mark. I think we can pare it down to... It's probably one of two things they're working on. Naughty Dog... Last of Us 2 factions, right? And maybe Jack 5? I don't know. Could be a new Uncharted game, but it seems like they kind of left that in the past. And then in terms of other studios, obviously Santa Monica Studios working on God of War Ragnarok. Guerrilla Games is working on Horizon Forbidden West. So we've got definitely a lot of studios working on stuff. I'm definitely missing some. We have Insomniac going nuts with, you know, so many different projects. Last of Us 2 Remastered. Yeah, I mean, that's my theory, is that I think for the PS5 version of Last of Us 2, it's either a remastered version or it's an upgradable thing, kind of like a Last of Us, a Final Fantasy VII Intergrade upgrade, where you then get new content in the form of the factions mode. Alright, so quick combat encounter, and that is because in order to technically do our full trek of the world, we're going to have to walk down this road, and there are always some Imperials here, so we're just going to warp strike the hell out of it. Oh, maybe my armor girl? I don't know. So you can see I can just cheese this now. That's what you do when you're level 85 in this game, or 90 or whatever I'm at. Oh, I do have my... Okay, if we get into one more fight, we will definitely be able to use the armor. Okay. So we're just going to walk a couple steps forward, and we can see just construction land. I don't know what it's for, but I guess the city of Insomnia is down there. And there's a dungeon here, too, so if you're starting at 15, good side quest there. My favorite dungeon is definitely the one here. Pro tip. Yep. Oh, yeah. So separated by water, you can take a bridge to get to Insomnia. That's it. Yep. MGS remake. Yeah, you know what? I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Now, of course, it wouldn't be coming via Kojima because, you know, the nasty breakup from Konami, and obviously I think he's probably working on either like Death Stranding 2 or maybe a brand new IP for Sony as well, which would be really exciting. But in terms of, I think... If you're Konami, you got the IP, your big creative genius has left. If you want to really get something out of the MGS license, I mean, remaster it at the very least, right? Do a remaster of Metal Gear Solid 1, top down. Or give us a remaster of Twin Snakes, right? On the GameCube version that was incredibly hard to find. Like, let's get that going. Bring that to the modern era a bit. I'd pay top dollar for that for sure, but full-on remake, if you did a full-on remake in, say, you know, the Fox engine, that'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. Yep. Yeah. Haven. Yep. So Jade Raymond creating the new studio Haven, independent studio working on a new IP. That's super exciting. It's honestly satisfying to see her. I can't remember. I don't know for sure if she was fired from Google, unfortunately, or like laid off, or if she left. But regardless, there was frustration, and a lot of what was happening. You know, Google's vision for Stadia and first-party content wasn't panning out, and I think she's just in a much better place with this new studio. I'd much rather she be working on something she's proud of than doing whatever the hell Google wanted to get done, and just seemed like a recipe for disaster. I don't know what exactly Google the plan was. All I can say is I think Microsoft in it, I think, for the long haul. We'll see if Amazon is really in it. The game development woes on their side of the tech industry has not been great either, so, and Apple, not a lot of movement there either, so long term, maybe they decide they want one of those giants wants to get into the gaming space, they can do it for real, but for now it definitely feels like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. It's definitely going strong. Definitely going strong. Lead. Beautiful desert. Beautiful, beautiful desert. Not a lot going on. I will say one of the fun things about this is if you take the Regalia, the car that we have lost for this beautiful, beautiful stream, you can take it off-road now with some of the updates they made to 15 over time. And it's kind of fun in this region. If you're in Clane and you're in the Rocky region there, it's not fun because the car cannot go through a bush. A bush is like a freaking cement wall in this game. That's just me. You know, it's the little things like that add up with this game that really kind of drive me nuts about 15, but I get that the car was never supposed to go off-road in the first place. That said, if you are in combat with Noctis and the gang and you're in a bush in the Clane region, it kind of gets up in your face, and the camera's not so good at fixing that, so another reason why 15, it's been a bit of a tumultuous ride. It's a good question. It is a good question. So I do have a little bit of insight into this. So like, their design has basically not changed at all since the days of Versus 13 back in 2006. So Noctis had the same outfit. I think they had a deal with a fashion designer back in the days of Versus 13 when it was starting out, and I think it was just part of like a licensing agreement. That's why I think the clothes were all black. And one of the things I noticed when 15 first came out is like you don't really get different clothes for the guys. You do get one set of casual clothes, which is like Noctis is in this very weird like bro hat and like white vest. It's very kind of bizarre. I don't really know why. But it's been all black ever since, and I think it's cool. It gives them the boy band aesthetic. So we're making a quick pit stop. Gonna say hi to Cindy.
What can I do you for?
Service the Regalia. Oh, okay.
Be seeing ya.
All right. Well, we could look at the Regalia if we wanted to. Look, no touching, but guess there's not much of a point. No. Don't go in the store prompt though, because we are leaving. Yeah, in terms of what I'm doing after 15, it's really, it feels liberating doing a lot of stuff up for grabs here. I'll probably knock out Persona 5 Royal, stay on the RPG momentum, which is great. Otherwise, there are a lot of games I've been itching to try. Like, again, I think I said it earlier, Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon. I need to go back to Yakuza 0, play that. Dragon Quest 11S. Just grabbed that from Best Buy. It was on sale, so excited about that. Last Guardian, eventually. too many games to mention, to be honest. It's like, it's really just kind of... I think one of the things I definitely will be diving into, though, is some of the PS Plus games, just to keep it to stuff that I think is available to a lot of PS5 owners. So, Maquette, Oddworld next month is going to be pretty sweet. If you got Game Pass on Xbox, there's a lot of sweet games out there from Haven, Game Bakers, Maker of Fury. Days Gone, I have tried a little bit of Days Gone, and you know what? It's very much in the thing where I agree. It's like 60 frames on PS5. It's looking its best. It's living its best life. It looks great. I actually surprisingly like the story so far. I think Deacon's a pretty interesting character. Gameplay, it feels like Last of Us, except like it feels very Last of Us aesthetic wise. Last of Us 2, and just like applied to an open world. It's clearly not Last of Us 2, but I've been enjoying it. So. Yeah, it's definitely a good recommendation. Thanks for that. These Magitech troops. Feel bad for them. Story gets better. See, I think that's kind of the similarities between, say, Days Gone and Tsushima, and maybe part of why they reviewed how they did. And what I mean by that is Days Gone, I think, was like considered like pretty good, you know, like fine by most open world standards, but I think people were kind of wanted a little more. And I think for Tsushima, people were happy with it, but it didn't seem like it knocked it out of the park. It wasn't like a masterpiece. But everyone that's played and stuck with both of those games have said the same thing. Like the story really heats up in the latter half, and if you stick with some of the early game stuff, it really gets rewarding. So I'm excited, and I think PS5 will help both of those games, just because, particularly Days Gone, because the loading will be easier. You know, Tsushima was always kind of an instantaneous load game. So, but yeah, I'll definitely give it a go. What is that noise? Whoa. Buggy at launch. Definitely had issues. Great point. Yeah, like, it goes to show you that in today's, you know, kind of gaming age, you can never kind of say write off a game completely. It also means on the flip side that sometimes you'll get a game like Cyberpunk or Days Gone that doesn't ship in the greatest conditions. So it's unfortunate, and I think it's kind of definitely the responsibility of people to vote with their wallet sometimes and come back to games when they feel like it's earned the money.
I can't just leave my car.
I feel like, is this the fourth guy that we've helped? Roadside assistance. Got you, buddy. Repair kit? I got you. I got you.
You saved me a long trek.
Yeah, I know. Did you see how long it took us to walk to the Hammerhead? Woo! Long trek, I can say. From experience. Oh, but you give me 900 gil? The other guy gave me 6,000. Not a fan of that. Thanks, dude. Camp. Oh, okay, got a campsite coming up. It's getting dark. I'm curious to see where we are with Gladio's survival skill. This is exciting. I don't think, for the record, I don't think we're going to be there. I think we are going to be, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to say 80% of the way. I'm really gunning for 80% of the way. If we are 80% of the way, then I'm like 100% certain that we will max him out by the time we finish the lap. Because we still have to go back through the Dusky region, because this will loop back through it, and then we will enter the Clane region once more, and we will be able to finish up in Lestalem. So, if only I just don't overshoot the camping site, we are good. And I can see it, it's dead there.
Are we there yet?
We're almost, Prompto, come on! End is near, end is near. Hop the fence, boys. We can go down there. That just scared Gladio? Okay. Okay. Big and strong dude, shield of the family. Scared pretty easily. I'm just thinking right now, what meal are we having Ignis cook here? If anyone's got a suggestion, let me know.
Shall we camp here?
Shall we camp here?
Camping. Again.
You got a problem with camping?
Noctis, stop whining. You can't get a hotel room every 5 seconds. We gotta check what Gladio's skill is. Actually, I guess we could actually go to a hotel. I got big bucks too, but it's more authentic to camp. Cook a meal. I'm sticking with the Gladio Rex just because I think most expensive. All right, I guess it's not in currency; it's in like ingredients. But I will say these are kind of the pricier ingredients, so let's go with that. That looks terrible. I mean, all the food looks good. I don't mean to say the food doesn't, but it's like soup. Skewers, pizza's definitely not expensive. Oh, Feast of the Divine. Oh, that's so good. You know what? We'll have a nice feast. I would normally save this for if I were to do a Menace Dungeon endgame, which is apparently like kind of... They're boring, but I'm over-leveled anyway. Let's do it. Feast of the Divine. Put on a feast for the boys. I had one ingredient, so I won't be able to make it again. Thanks, man. Thanks for the, for joining in for as long as you did. Really appreciate it. Glad you enjoyed it. All right, Gladio. Oh, we're so close.
Hey,
we are
this
so
one's
close.
Pretty good. I know.
I dig it too. Love the voice lines. Overused, but I love them. Okay, okay.
Yep.
Right
Everything is in order, and I'm feeling like we're on track, my friends. Alrighty, alrighty. Alright. I will say that having that endless running has been clutch. Clutch. Are we going through the
Real nice
magic?
here.
Yeah, real nice.
Magitech engine. It's close.
How many Magitech engines can we have? This is crazy. This is crazy. We don't need all these Magitech engines, I'm telling you. It's crazy. Oh, wait a second. Is it my worst nightmare? Let's check the score here. How we looking in terms of how on earth did the oh yeah, Celtics lost 121 to 119. Wouldn't have it any other way. Let's tank, baby. Let's tank. Let's get a top draft pick. Let's trade that pick for Aaron Gordon. Let's get it. Wanderlust again. Let's go. Look at that. Look at how far we made it. Look at how far. We were right under that rocket Kavanaugh like 2 hours ago.
Imperials above us. Thanks.
That is by far, I think, I don't want to say that is by far the most overused voice line, because I know it's not. There were so many other ones. The game, I just don't think anyone thought we were going to be running around for this long. By any stretch. Oh boy. Prompto, you look like your back's about to give out, man. Jeez. We just camped. You just had rest. What do you need? I want to know what kind of instrumentation this is, because I love it. How long has the stream been? You know better than I do. I don't know. That's the thing about Twitch, right? I don't know until I end the stream. What is going on? Why are they crossing the road? I want to say like 2 hours, maybe? Which, honestly, to be honest, I had my own thoughts about how long it was going to take to go around the world map here. I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, I thought this was going to take a lot longer. I know it might seem like a lot, but just given how big this game is, if we finish the trek, I think if we finish it in, just about 2 hours, I think that sounds about right, and feels good for a game of this size, I think. We can literally see kind of the steps too, where it's like the biggest landmark in that lead region, the desert, was the big rock. Here we've got the kind of nice rock formations that are dust sky, and the nice astral shard right there, the icy region there, and then that rock of Raveno, the big kind of smoking volcano over there. So we're not going to have to go all the way back to the rock. We won't have to do that. I think we're going to have to go somewhere but equidistant between the two, the ice shard over there and the fire. So we are definitely on the home stretch, which is beautiful.
It's freezing.
You'll catch cold if you don't wear your jacket.
I do like that touch. They if you're cold, they tell you to put on a jacket. If you're warm, they say lose the jacket. They're never satisfied. Everyone's always whining in this game. Always whining. Can't people just, like, chill out? Live in the moment a bit. We're just living on life. Okay. Yeah, let's get... If we're going to move, we might as well take in the view while we do it. Nice little... I mean, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the game. Probably my favorite scenic spot.
Indeed.
It is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Don't copyright me. You too. Don't copyright me, Yoko Shimamura, please. Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, end of an era. This is, you know, this is the summation of, I don't know, 15 years of baggage, I like to say, from 2006 to 2021. It ends tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, depending on where you're at. Definitely has been a soothing kind of way to end it too, and I feel like it's played itself out very nicely, where it's like had a nice, all right, come on, blinker.
It's a little chilly. Yeah.
You know, Gladio with a nice little camp. We started the stream, Gladio and Noctis having their nice little moment, and Noctis picking flowers for his pseudo on-off girlfriend, not really, and then going back to the diner just a few, I don't know, 20 minutes back, and seeing all the cast of side characters from around the series. That's a nice way to end it. And then, of course, going back to Lasnalum and that big city. The big city in this game, at least. Two big cities. Lasnalum and Altissia. One's modern after, one's after Havana and Cuba. The other one's inspired by Venice, so definitely going after the real-world aesthetic here. I guess I don't know what this is, like Colorado? Where are we now? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Great looking game.
The breeze feels good.
Indeed.
Such a good track. I love it. It will. So there is, in terms of like the checklist, I really have done kind of everything I've needed to do with this game. So I've been kind of playing it pretty religiously the past few days and weeks, where it's been going through as many side quests as I could kind of stomach with the game, then finishing the main story, then going back and doing all the DLC, then going and getting all the trophies. And so this is the very last thing on the milestone. I did the super boss. I did a little bit of the end game content that I wanted to do. Like, I don't feel like I left anything big on the table for this game. I really feel like I'm not one of the people that needs to level cap myself or anything like that. I don't need to max out my items. I don't need to do any of that. But once we get that last trophy and that platinum pops, I can officially uninstall this game, uninstall the game from the PS5, put it in the disc, in the case, and slip it on the shelf and put it to rest, put it to bed, give it the send off it deserves.
Rather sultry.
Yeah.
There we go, more wildlife crossing the street. Love it. That is one of the nice touches about this game, is it does make you really feel... That's the strong suit. It makes you feel like it's a lived-in world. Like, it's gorgeous. The guys are constantly talking with each other. The foliage looks nice. We could camp. I feel like we just did that, though, so I think we'll save it until we're a little bit closer. And we are getting close. We are getting close.
What?
Great tracks for an epic send-off, for sure, for sure. And the sad thing is that there were some awesome tracks in this game that you can only hear kind of at night when you're in combat. And I think we heard some of it, but I kept probably cutting it off just so we could, you know, keep the pace here, because you don't get a lot of steps by fighting, you know, stationary in combat. But one of my favorite tracks from the game is definitely the nighttime battle theme. It's just awesome. Veiled in Black is the name, so definitely peep it on Spotify or YouTube. Baller track. Noctis is a champ. He is not tired this entire time. That vest is giving him life.
Stinking hot.
Yeah.
First it was too cold, now it's too hot. Gladio, make up your mind. Is the sun? Can you even see the... Ooh, it is a bright sun. I could see it. And also you've been walking nonstop. You haven't slept in a actual bed in ages. Probably like a week at this point, because we've camped like 3 or 4 times now, and like sometimes we just ran through the night, so maybe like 5 days have lapsed. I don't know. It's been a trek. I also just love taking in the cars, the different colors of the vehicles. That's kind of a fun game to pass the time too. Is I wonder, check the map. Oh, we're getting close now. What's the next color of the car? I think it's a lot of reds. I'm gonna say red. Next car that drives by is gonna be red. That's my gut feeling.
Nothing like nature in the middle of nowhere.
Not gonna bet on it, but I feel like it's gonna be red. Nothing like it being in the middle of nature. Well said, Glady. There really aren't that many cars. Yeah, it's oddly poetic. It's like very, very... It's like they're doing the full journey, right? Their whole game, they were driving on this road with their car. They've done the journey, been back. And now we're ending it with a little serene walk. Oh, I hate to say it. We can never leave a car in need, and I see a car. But we'll be right back on the track. It's so funny. I don't think these are like random quests. Like, I think they're only a set number of them. Which is hilarious. That somehow there's like 20 of these around the world, or 30, or however many.
Finally. Thanks for the help.
Yep. Is that guy wearing some interesting sandals that guy has? This is an interesting outfit. Alright, I just hope he didn't set me off on the off course. I want to make sure I'm not cutting any corners here. I'm going to go right back. Yep, there we are. It's got an interesting lumberyard. Okay, and we're back. Fixed his car. Where'd everyone else go? Gladio. Where'd the guys go? They'll be back. They never go far. Yeah, we are really actually so all right. This is exciting. So actually, we can see the tunnel that's going to bring us back to where we started.
Oh, nice here.
Indeed.
So we just got this gun. Got to gun it on this last stretch of land. It's actually this is another awesome view too. So I'm actually glad that we're ending on this. Very scenic. I would have loved to have been able to kind of explore down in the canyon there, but the game is a little bit linear at this part of the world map. I understand. I get it. It's a big world in and of itself. I think we've kind of figured that out through the stream. But yeah, just a nice looking, very nice canyon. Maybe this is modeled after the Grand Canyon. It's not. It doesn't look like the Grand Canyon at all. And there are a lot of canyons in the world, so maybe that's a little presumptuous of me. We'll check out what's on this side. We didn't see a lot of the sea when we were walking around, which is kind of a shame because there definitely is a big sea component. We kind of blew by it when we went by Cape Kime. Cape Kime? Yeah, I think that's the name of it. But we can see a little bit of water out there. I think that's a closed inlet. Yeah. Still nice. Definitely not complaining. And there's somehow, yeah, canyon. No water. Oh, we can see the tallest building in Lestalem now, which is the power plant. Yeah, very interesting kind of city there. How they make ends meet. They're kind of like the last bastion against the demons in this. Yeah, it's a nice here. Beautiful world.
Take a nap.
Meanwhile, Noctis wants to take a nap. Yeah, it's a good looking place. Oh, I can't. I don't know if you remember. I don't recall the last car that came by. I don't think one has. So it looks like we have our first one, and I'm wrong. It's blue. Shame. I even come up with harmonies for this stuff. I've been listening to it ad nauseum forever. For 75 hours. 15 years of my life. Oh, we're so close. I would be honestly a little mortified if we got there, we rested, and then he was just like a hair shy, but I'm feeling good about it. We did pretty much all the detours we could have done. Like, I'm even looking here. We did that detour. That's how we started. We came down from that street. We took the left here. We went and did a whole loop around. So we've done that before. We have done the entire, the whole route. Yeah. It's been a journey.
Nice here.
And I think I'm thinking about this has been. I think now we're coming up on. Maybe it's closer to 2.5 now, but honestly, 2.5 well spent. Definitely very scenic, very serene, calming. I didn't expect it to be actually this much, this enjoyable, this much fun. I thought it was gonna be a slog, and I was like, what am I getting myself into? But perfect length. Here we go. Last stretch. And it's cool because we'll be ending on one of the cooler towns in the game, which I know we've been kind of hopping into places here or there. We went into we didn't go into Cape Kime. We did go into Golden Key. We're almost there. Yep. Thanks, man. We did the Hammerhead, and now we're about to head to Lestalem, and it's gonna be pretty sweet. We started there. Not sure if I don't think we did too much of like a city tour, but that might be a nice thing because we have to go into the city. It's not a city; it's like a town. We have to go in just to get to the hotel and check the status. And the nice thing is, be very poetic. We'll be letting the boys rest in a hotel bed for once. Now they've been camping out for like a week.
Dreary day.
Dreary day. Yeah, I guess it did get a little murky. The journey's almost over. Just be thankful, Ignis, that it rained once. So, stop whining. Here we go. We're seeing it. We're seeing it. It's beautiful.
Rain.
It's beautiful. It's unfortunate it had to rain on the home stretch, but we're here. Beautiful music. Let's bring it home.
Safe and sound.
Safe and sound. Woo, Route 72. I don't know if that was the route. Great note to end on. And we're gonna head into the hotel and get that achievement to pop, and we'll be good. Sweet. So let's do a little peek in the town. You want to enjoy a kebab?
Hey, brother, try one of these.
Or sorry, a skewer.
Okay.
Do it.
Good, right?
Maybe it is a kebab.
It's
No, a skewer.
good.
Then come again and tell all your friends.
Right on. Noctis enjoying a bite. Alrighty. Here we go. Hotel down here. This is exciting. We did it. The walk around, the jog, the run, the lap herd around the world. All right, and they're gonna get a nice little stay at the Laville and Lestalem. Let's check it out. Please cap them off here. I'd be so sad.
Will you be requiring a room?
Yes, we will.
Bedtime.
Let's see. I don't know. I'm a little nervous. How are we gonna do it? We did it. We did it. Oh, Platinum Polar Trophy and the World Wanderer, and it's so fitting. The World Wanderer, Platinum Trophy, and we literally wandered the road. Little aimless, but not aimless. We were on the road, but let's take a victory lap through our photos. Kicking out the legs for I don't know why. Running. I wish we had one of the guys, all of them in there, but dang. What a note to end on. Let's end on that one. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thanks, man, for joining for like the vast majority of the stream. I appreciate you hanging in for the whole time. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely tune in again. And that's it. Cool. Well, for those seeing this in post, this will be archived on our Punish Backlog YouTube channel. And yeah, for everything else, great content. We'll be doing more of these streams soon, and check out more written articles as well over on punishbacklog.com. Thanks, everyone.